Hopefully you were with us for the lightweights earlier today. If you weren't, you missed some cracking racing. Definitely recommend going back and watching that at your leisure on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. But right now we look ahead to the afternoon's action. Little bit overcast over the circuit, but by and large we've had some really nice sunshine, blue skies here at the circuit, which you wouldn't have expected when we came in today. We were greeted by sleet this morning actually, but it cleared up nice and quickly. You might have seen the latter part of some of those conditions if you were watching the first of the grid walks over the lunch break just then. We do have another grid walk that we've taken over the lunch break, getting the thoughts of some of these heavyweight drivers. That will be made available to you on the YouTube channel as well. Right now though, we are looking ahead to the racing action for the first round of the championship then. For these heavyweights, we've got some new tyres for the drivers to get used to, and we've got a few tweaks to the regulations as well. We'll take you through all of that as we go through the afternoon's action. The format though, for anyone who's familiar, for those of you who are already tuned in for the lightweights, or for those of you who've followed the Club 100 Senior Sprints in recent years, the format is unchanged. 12 heats, each driver will contest 3 of those 12, and the points from that will decide where you start on the grids for the trophy finals. 7-minute heat races, 12-minute finals, but there are points available in the championship in all of them. We'll take you through all of that just very briefly before we look ahead to race 1. Hello, Andrew.
Hello.
Back again.
I'm back. It's chilly out there.
It's still chilly, isn't it?
It's a bit brisk.
Still chilly.
But yeah, obviously the conditions are pretty good, I think, for this time of year. You know, it's February. It's the end of February. It's dry, which is when I've raced here at this time of year. That's all I want. I just want it to be dry. Yep. We've definitely got that. And everyone seems quite buoyed down there in the paddock. Good to have a chat with some of our heavyweight drivers. I think we're in for a good afternoon of racing. Absolutely.
Well, if it was anything like the lightweights this morning, we are in for yet another treat. With that in mind, I think let's have a look ahead to the first heat race of the season for the heavyweights. Round 1, heat 1, coming up next. We'll kick off then by having a look at the grid for this one, albeit there will be a few practice laps, so when you see the karts first coming out, don't worry, you're not missing any of the racing action. Joe Wright will start this one from pole position, with Jacob Harris alongside on the front row. Paul Williams and Samuel Bensley will make up row number 2, with Ethan Fitton and Tim Williams on row 3. Row 4 will be Stuart Kirk and Joe Bailey. There they are, with Matthew Batter and Nicholas Walker rounding up the top 10. Matthew Griffiths and Edward Gordon are going to be on row number 6. It'll then be Joe Holmes and Christopher Paltz on row 7. Mo Hassan and Rupert Rixon are on row 8. And then Jonathan Wilson and Richard Melton will round out the 18 karts that are contesting the first heat of this round 1 in the Club 100 Heavyweights Sprints Championship for 2023. So to talk you through a few of the subclasses considerations that we've got to talk about here. If you were watching the lightweights, you'll have seen we had 3 subclasses this morning, classes 1, 2 and 3. That's the same in heavyweights, but there is also a super heavyweights category as well. So that's the additional thing to bear in mind with this. And just as a reminder, it is 90 kilograms that the heavyweights are weighted up to. And I just thought I'd double check. It is 98 kilos for the super heavyweights this year. All scored together in exactly the same way, but we will, come the end of the day, have round winners in all of those subclasses. And come the end of the season, we will also crown a champion in all of those classes as well. But as I say, all scored together, all in even machinery here in Club 100, which means that every position counts. The significant thing there. You're not going to see people playing the class game too much with regards to you know, each position and go, oh well, the person ahead of me is a class 1, so I won't bother. No, you want the points if you're in class 2 in that scenario, or class 3 or super heavy. So every position counts, which is how we like to see it in Club 100 Sprints. So to be clear, as I say, 12 heats, each driver will take part in 3 of those 12, and those 12 heats will be split up into blocks of 4 as well. We could call them rotations. So Each driver will take part in one race out of the first 4, one race out of the next 4, and one race out of the final 4. So once we get to the end of heat number 4, all of the drivers will have done one race, essentially, and that's why we talk about them in rotations. You only do one from each rotation. If you're tuned... grid positions. Grid positions are randomly allocated such that each driver has the same average grid position across all of their heats. How that actually plays out, therefore, is that you'll have one race where you're starting from near the front, one where you're starting in the middle, and one where you're starting in the back. So obviously with the one where you're starting in the front, it'll be a question of trying to convert that into a good result, whereas the one where you start from the back, it'll be almost like a damage limitation. How far forward can you get? The small exception, the small caveat to add to that is for our Class 3 class, that's our novice class of drivers, they're actually allocated to grid positions at the back. They still have random allocation within that little pack at the back, such that they still have the same average grid position within that subclass, but there's just that little addition there to avoid a novice driver having the slightly stressful task of starting from pole position of the whole pack. So that's something to bear in mind there. If you are tuning in to support a particular driver, then you want to try and make a note of their kart number. They've been issued with that today, and that will be their number for the rest of the season, so keep an eye on that. And the other thing to talk about is just the number plate colours. Class 1 drivers will have a yellow number plate both on your timing screen and out there on track. And then a blue number board will be for our Class 2s and Class 3s. And then the super heavyweights, I believe, are still carrying their green number plates into this season. So you can easily spot on screen which class a driver is in. The small exception being it's a little harder to distinguish between Class 2s and Class 3s because they do carry the same number physically. But if you are in doubt, head on over to the live time, live.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Club 100, or head on over to our live stream. Alongside this Alpha live stream, we've got an additional extra details stream on our Double Dash Motorsport media channel. Have that one as well alongside, and we've replicated the timing tower for you there as well.
The only correction, I'll say that the plates physically on the carts, C1s are red. I just checked outside. Unless there's some
I want to say
reds.
they were yellow. Okay, fine. No.
Unless I'm looking.
No, that's fine.
Blind, but there we go.
They only had the one set of red.
Yellow, the yellow on the...
the yellow on timing? Well, traditionally they've been yellow. They used to only have one pack of red plates, so they'd give one out to the lightweights and one to the... No, never mind. No, you're right. I can see someone with a red plate now. I stand corrected.
Yeah, apologies for the we had a technical, well, not a technical hitch. The battery went flat on my phone, so we lost the 4G, and so we lost the DDMM comment box coming whilst we were doing a paddock walk. But it's back now. It's all good. And yeah, no, that's it. Looking forward to this afternoon's racing, and everyone's smiling, everyone's happy, everyone's raring to go.
Yeah.
And as I say, if the lightweights is anything to go by, we've got a stunning A final, very dramatic B final as well. Some pretty good heat races. I don't think we'll see as much of what we saw in the heats in lightweights of someone getting out front and then romping away. I don't think we'll see those 10, 12-second wins this afternoon, because the conditions are a lot.
Exactly.
They're far more stable than they were, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock this morning.
Yep. If that now changes, you may address your annoyance to Mr. A. Mather, who's just jinxed it. But yes.
Perfectly allowed.
Yes.
But no, I would say there's a few clouds in the sky, but it's looking pretty good. Pretty good at the moment. Field forming up on the back straight, I can see.
They are. Been a while since we took you through that grid then, so just as a reminder, Joe Wright and Jacob Harris, the UKC community unite for Mr. Harris there. Paul Williams, very experienced driver there, with Samuel Bensley alongside. Sam Bensley now in Class 2, one of our former Class 3 drivers, and indeed Class 3 champions, I want to say, in this discipline. Ethan Fitton and Tim Williams on row 3. As I think we are good for a start.
Nope.
No, we're going around again. So that was Ethan Fitton and Tim Williams, row 3. Row 4 was Stuart Kirk and Joe Bailey. It was Matthew Batter and Nicholas Walker to round out your top 10. It was Matthew Griffiths and Edward Gordon on row 6. Joe Holmes on row 7, they're starting in 13th. And then we get to what I was talking about. Everyone from him downwards is a Class 3 novice driver. So you've sort of got that mini random grid pack at the back, which is Christopher Pouts, Mo Hassan, Rupert Rickson, Jonathan Wilson and Richard Melton. They're still scored equally as same as everybody else. It's just that they're as I say, to take the stress and the risk out of them, having the slightly nervous accolade of starting at the front, they are put at the back. All right then. I think we are good for the start. So Joe Wright is in the 101 to lead them away, and he's missing his number plate. That's not useful, but away he goes nonetheless. And into turn number 1, and Paul Williams there trying to tuck underneath in the silvery coloured helmet there. But it is still the pole sitter, although he's had a slight contact on the back there for Joe Wright. And Paul Williams is through and up into the lead in the number 27 car as they're all jostling for position. It's a little bit robust at elbows out, but I think everybody's come through that point in the right way. There's the usual 4 abreast, even 5 abreast heading towards the S's that they have to sort themselves out for. But it's a brilliant start here, actually, for Paul Williams, who's got a fair few kart lengths. We've got a spinner there 74. Down at Symes Sweep, and it is Christopher Potts. And at 74, we've got another spinner at Paddock Corner as well, so we're going to have to check a few of these as they come through to finish the lap. But at the end of lap 1, it is going to be Paul Williams who leads this one. Just looking to see any warnings coming through. Paul Williams, then it's Tim Williams in second place. And look at that battle all going on. Joe Holmes there has worked his way up brilliantly through the field already from 13th. He's already up to 6th place.
Not a good start for Jacob Harris, down to 8th place. It's a Williams 1-2. It's 1996, ladies and gentlemen. Two very experienced drivers at the front of this pack. Joe Wright scored in 3rd place, so at least his transponders on the kart, so we can recognise him from that perspective. But Joe Holmes has had a good start as well, as expected, up from 13th. Had a brief chat with him down during the paddock walk, which we'll get online later. Look, here he comes, flying through. Yellow flag out at the top of the hill. What is that for?
I'm not sure, actually. Tim Williams, though, has caught up onto the back of Paul Williams here. Got to say it. It's a Williams 1-2. Had to get that line in. And Joe Holmes, I think, just went down the inside of Sam Bensley there to get up into 3rd place through hairpin 1.
Joe Bailey has got a bump and pass penalty. So for those of you who have joined us for this afternoon, that's a 4-place position, 4-place deduction to be awarded, if you could say awarded, at the end of the race.
Yes.
I.e., if you win the race, you'll actually be classified 5th. Big defence now from Paul Williams on Tim Williams. Tim Williams trying to find a way through, but what this is doing is it's encouraging Joe Holmes into the battle.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's there are a few tweaks to the penalties which we'll mention as we go through, but Tim Williams have managed to find a way through here and tuck underneath. But Joe Holmes is right on the scene. He doesn't want to be done for a bumper pass. Yeah. What he's doing there is he detected that it was because of the pod-to-pod contact there. He wanted to just let Tim Williams have the advantage for now. He's happy to bide his time. And he's still going to sweep through on Paul Williams, though, through the S's. I think that was a very compliant Paul Williams who clocked that it was someone as rapid as Joe Holmes coming through and saw fit to go, yeah, OK, you're not in my class, I'll let you go for now. So Joe Holmes up to 2nd place. Tim Williams, your new leader here as they come up to complete lap number 4.
And the reason for that is there's no point losing excess time fighting with someone like Joe Holmes, so who, no offence to Paul Williams, you would expect to, at the end of this race, be ahead. Paul Williams has played this game long enough to know he's more in a race with those directly behind him, Ed Gordon, Samuel Bensley. These are the kind of drivers that he needs to beat out in this race, and there has been a change there for 3rd place. If he gets to what ultimately is going to be his aim for the day, get into the A final, get into the top 24 drivers in terms of performance across these 12 heats.
Yeah, so it's a driver that we haven't really mentioned so far, as Joe Holmes goes for the lead here on Tim Williams into Garda. And Tim Williams is going to try and have a bit of a fight back as they come up the hill. Joe Holmes is worth mentioning, the highest placed driver from last season, still racing in this category. We've seen this morning heavyweight champion from 2022, Anwar Barul Smith, has moved to the lightweights category this year. So that number 2 plate that you'll see on Joe Holmes's kart, that is the lowest place number you're going to see.
Yep.
Because there is no 1 plate racing. It's it is Joe Holmes who takes on that mantle. And Edward Gordon now up to third place. Driver we haven't really mentioned so far, but there he is in the number 84 kart with the Elio De Angelis style helmet.
Yep, Elio De Angelis, not Jean
Not Jean Alesi.
Nicky's got one of those.
Yes.
He's been wearing it today. Nicky Richardson.
Yep.
Club 100 test drivers. There's Paul Williams, number 27. He's trying to keep Samuel Bensley there, back for another year of BUKC. And there he is. The Welsh giraffe himself, Jacob Harris, in P6. He needs a tinted visor. Actually, no, I'm going to straight away counter that. I don't want Jacob to get a tinted visor to act as a bit of a sun guard for his eyes, because then I wouldn't be able to see his beautiful eyes. Back to a race.
Very poetic.
On.
That's Stuart Kirk, by the way, who moved in the number 12. He's the only super heavyweight driver in this race, but doing well so far in 8th place. And obviously, as I say, because all of the classes are scored together, he still wants to maximum. He can't just rest on his laurels because, well, I've won the super heavies in this race. It's about getting as many points as he can on the board.
Yeah, and super heavyweights, the decision will be made either towards the front of the B final, which we're a long way off, or getting into the A final, which again would be a great result for Stuart today. He's done many laps around this circuit over the years. He's a keen endurance racer as well. The endurance championship that always takes place on a Saturday of these Club 100 mains weekends. Just under 60 seconds to go here. Fastest lap of the race with Joe Holmes. 1.2 seconds is his lead over Tim Williams. You can see Nicholas Walker trying to find a way past Jacob Harris as well.
Someone collected the bollards then. And that's one of the things we'll mention right off the bat. A cone warning a few moments ago was issued to Ethan Fitton as we're looking Fitton, excuse me, as there's the move for 4th place. Samuel Bensley down the inside of Paul Williams into turn 1. That was a nice clean move there from Bensley. But yes, cone warnings. Those of you who weren't watching the lightweights this morning, that is one of the changes this year. You now get a 1 warnings grace on cones, and when we say cones, we mean contact with any track furniture. So those bollards, for example, on the inside of that corner there, those count as cones, even though they're obviously not cones. Any piece of track furniture, as Jacob Harris is now gone from defending to attacking here, having a look at Paul Williams, as Joe Holmes has come through and already taken the win with Tim Williams in second. So Joe Holmes opens his points tally for the year with the win, bags himself the 30 points that you now get for a heat win. Change for this season. Tim Williams in second. Our 2 Class 1 runners finishing where they would expect to, well, they'd hope to finish based on their subclass. Ed Gordon with a really good run to 3rd overall and 1st within the Class 2 runners. Then it was Sam Bensley, Paul Williams, Jacob Harris, Nicholas Walker and Joe Bailey, Stuart Kirk and Joe Wright to round out your top 10. And that's how they rounded up on heat number 1, but Joe Holmes opening that exactly how he will have wanted to start.
Very good. Heat 2 is up next. Drivers out on circuit now.
Here's your grid then for heat number 2 of the heavyweights for round 1. Tim Penny will start this one from pole with Dan Giles alongside. Elliot Alt and Lenny Wood will be row 2. Then it's Callan Singerfoos and Lawrence Cheer on row 3. Alex Pritchard, who I believe went fastest in testing just as we were going back live with you here on the stream, and Vijay Patel are row number 4. Ethan O'Donnell and Lee Henson round out your top 10. Simon Kavanagh and Adrian Ray will be next on row 6. Then it's Tim Hill and Marcus Gilby on row 7. Row 8 will be Jason Kirkham and Luigi Amitrano. And then David Harvey and Nick Nucci to round out your 18 kart field for heat number 2 of 12.
Spoke to Ethan O'Donnell down in the paddock. I thought, well, it's brand new season, round 1. I'm going to go and shove my microphone in the face of people that I don't know. And had a brief chat with Ethan O'Donnell, Karen O'Donnell cheering on in chat as well. And yeah, starting there from, where was that? Was that 10th? 9th
yeah.
On the grid. In the super heavyweights.
Yep.
Always good to see new people coming in.
Absolutely.
Tim Penny. Good test this.
Yes.
Hasn't brought his sustenance today.
Has he not?
No.
Does he want Jaffa cakes?
So Tim had a very good hit rate on avoiding the DDMM comms box curse last year by providing offerings to the altar. He hasn't done so
I
today.
see, I get it, yes.
So if he has a bad one here, we know why.
We do. Should say, by the way, Ethan, competing in the super heavyweights who you just mentioned, he's got possibly the two most experienced. He's got a lot of experience here. He's got Lenny Wood and Lee Henderson as the other two super heavyweights. So he's got some
good markers,
good benchmarks. I was going to say, to go by here. Again, don't worry, you're not missing any racing action. They're just doing the warm-up laps at the moment. As gosh, already it feels like the shadows are lengthening here at Buckmore Park here today. It's still relatively short daylight time that we're in at the moment. Do keep your comments coming in if you're tuning in to support a particular driver. And thank you so much for your engagement thus far today, folks. But if you haven't already, do please give us a like.
There's a poll.
The stream. There is a poll.
What is your favourite circuit from a choice of 4?
Yes.
Buckmore Park.
Yeah.
Which is now coming back with a vengeance.
Yes.
Is now up to 40%. Wilton Mill 43%. Handout 13%. That'll be Jacob Harris fan club that are all voting for that. And Clay Pigeon 4%.
I wonder why Adam Chapman of Alpha Live put those 4 in the poll. wonder who chose those 4 as the shortlist.
Well, DDMM has voted Buckmore Park.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We could only have 4 options. So I don't know, we might have to do a second round of voting.
Car Park couldn't go on there.
No. We'll do a second round of voting. You know, we'll put Ella Park, we'll put Rye House, Sheddington, Lyd. That's the other one. We'll have to have a knockout competition. We'll do the second round. But yeah, do please keep interacting with us. We really do appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's get people talking about this wonderful Club 100 Championship that's getting underway again for 2023. The 10 rounds that are going to be in the senior sprints. And that's not to mention the British Universities Karting Championship, the juniors and the cadets, all going on over the course of this year. Right now, though, we're good for the start of heat number 2. No, we're not. They're doing the dance that tells me that they're going round again.
Because I can say, hello, Kirith. Kirith Cali-Wright has tuned in on the DDMM comms box cam. Because he's done that and said hello, he gets shout-outs.
Hey.
That's how it works. But yeah, the drivers will go around for this one more formation. Alex Pritchard there. We'll be looking for a good result in this one. But thank you for your continued support, everybody. Next, Club 100 in real life action, 15th of March, BUKC at GYG. But don't forget, we've got our Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship, first round of the year, on the DDMM YouTube channel on Wednesday night. Do tune in for that. And if you are someone on iRacing with a history in Club 100 or BUKC, get involved. Meanwhile, though, we are ready to go for heat number 2.
We are indeed.
Should be a good one.
Yeah. The 36 Tim Penny then, driver with the blue helmet there on your right and driver's right. Going to lead them away. Looks like a strong start from the pole side of the grid. I think Dan Giles was maybe caught napping a bit there. It's been a strong start there for Elliot Alt as a result, as they all stream through. And Lee Henderson is already round, I'm afraid to say, there at turn number 1. So we've got one spinner there as they come through hairpin 1 for the first time. It's still Tim Penny at the head, though. No, it's not, because Elliot Alt will go down the inside of hairpin 2. It's going to be side by side between them. Tim Penny's going to get the switch back and get his position back again as quickly as he'd lost it, as they come down the hill for the first time. And it's a good start as well for Alex Pritchard, the sole Class 1 runner in the field. You're absolutely right, mate. It is red number plates on the Class 1. There's a hit of the bollards double hit, because going off in avoidance of something else there was one of our super heavyweight drivers. It might have been Ethan O'Donnell, actually. You have to check that on time. But at the end of that one, it is Tim Penny who leads. As there's the 24 of Callan Sigafus having a look at Lenny Wood. So yeah, Lee Henderson went round, and I'm afraid Luigi Amatrano seems to have had some kind of incident that's put him off the back as well. I think there'll be a bit of leniency given to what happened with the bollards down there, because I don't know. It's a bit difficult to make the call, but we'll see. We'll see what race control. They may be more eagle-eyed than I. Alex Pritchard, though, has already got by on Elliot Alt this lap, and he's already sizing up Tim Penny here for a move, as that's Lenny Wood going off in avoidance again.
Finished fourth in the super heavyweights last year. Tim Hill trying to fight his way through as well. Lots of experience in this race.
New fastest lap of the race from Alex Pritchard. Surely he's looking at for a move on Tim Penny here through the first part of this lap. We're looking a little further back now at the battle over fourth place.
Oh, as Lenny Wood spins.
Oh, well, that was
all by his own.
That's very uncharacteristic for Lenny. Very experienced driver in Club 100 racing. I can see out my window that it is still Tim Penny at the lead of this one. Coming down through Sime Sweet now. As, the battle for fourth place is coming down here. And then there's the 29er Lawrence Cheer you just saw briefly there. This is Sigafus in fourth place. And then there is, well, it's not Lenny Wood anymore. It's Tim Hill, who's up into fifth place. Another extremely experienced driver there. And here's the battle for the lead. Down the inside goes Alex Pritchard on Tim Penny. Decisive move there through turn number one. Goes a little bit defensive in hairpin one just to deter any counter-attack. He'll do the same in hairpin two. And I think he'll consider that job done for taking the lead of the race.
Yeah, but still lots to play for. Elliot Holt is not too far behind. You don't want to fight too hard because Elliot will close in. For a good result here. There's Callan Sigafus up to fourth place, and Tim Hill has worked his way up into the top 5. 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Not yet at the halfway mark of this 7-minute heat. Change for the lead will be confirmed as they come over the line this time then. Alex Pritchard in the number 7 cart there. As I say, sole class 1 runner in this heat. But everyone's in that even machinery. It's still impressive for him to have got to the head of the field.
Alex Pritchard working hard at the steering wheel there through hairpin number 1 is clearly pushing on. Like Elliot Holt in this race has just set the fastest first sector of anyone. That's pretty much the run round the far side and on the approach to hairpin number 1. Sector 2 is then ending there as they transition up to Garda, and then the third sector for when we're talking about them is then this run round Garda, round Senna, and then up over the hill, round Cafe, and to the end of the lap. Tim Penny, new fastest lap of the race, 46.713, aided by the Alex Pritchard shaped hole in front of him, getting a bit of slipstream.
Yep. He's certainly not letting the fact there's a Class 1 runner ahead of him intimidate him here. He's perfectly happy to keep Pritchard under pressure. The head of this one. Good battle behind them as well. Callan Sigafus running strongly in fourth. Tim Hill, there he is, coming through in the 46. He's got Dan Giles in the 61 with him.
Yeah, really good run from Dan Giles so far. Newer name to this competition, but is tucked up behind arguably, well, definitely the most experienced driver of anyone in these Club 100 paddocks. Tim Hill has been racing in Club 100 for as long as anyone can remember. And racing very well as well there in the top 5. Changes of position just to let you know about. Simon Kavanagh is up into the top 10. Oh, a bit of a mistake there from Tim Penny. That's going to open the door for Elliot Holt. Just manages to get it closed again in time.
And what that was for me, Andrew, was Tim Penny going, I'm going to get the switch back here on Pritchard. I'm going to have a better run than him down the hill.
Yep.
So he took the wider line, but maybe Elliot Holt was closer than he thought.
Yep.
And that just allowed him to get in on the action there. Shout out to Jason Kirkham, running in 8th, Class 3 novice driver. Really, really impressive run there. Bearing in mind that the Class 3 drivers do have that. I don't like calling it a handicap because I think it's a good rule to have them in a pack of their own at the back.
Yeah.
To help them cut their teeth, get used to it. But nevertheless, it does, in terms of positions, obviously serve as somewhat of a handicap. Worked his way up to 8th place. That's really good for a Class 3 runner there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 54 fares over the course of the day's running.
Just to see as well that Simon Kavanagh, I think, has gained another position here. Lee Henderson trying to recover is back up to 13th place. Lenny Wood similarly is in 16th place. last lap board should be out, and it is.
It is, yeah.
I say a board. It's denoted on the digital flag there, the electronic screen here at Buckmore Park. Alex Pritchard doing enough at the moment. In fact, he's just set the fastest lap of the race at 46.663, and that's pretty good pace considering that we were seeing lightweights this morning doing 46.3s and 46.4s. That's not bad at all. Track conditions are a little bit better.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's good pace from Pritchard.
Yeah, I will say, by the way, there's been a fantastic battle going on. Simon Kavanagh, you mentioned, Andrew, in 9th place. They're really close in that battle over 9th place. We're looking here, though, at Pritchard just sealing the deal, going tight there. Is it too defensive, actually? Tim Penny's going to have a decent run up the hill. Alex Pritchard is going to hold on to it. He'll cross the line to take the win. Good win there for Pritchard. Tim Penny in 2nd in the highest place for the Class 2 runners. Elliot Alt in 3rd. Callan Sigafus in 4th. Strong result for him. Tim Hill, Dan Giles, good drive to 6th. Lawrence Cheer in 7th. Then it was Jason Kirkham. Simon Kavanagh. You can see how close together they were across the line there. Kavanagh in 9th. Ethan O'Donnell finishes his first race there. 10th, and the highest place of the super heavyweights. A fair play to him there.
Yeah.
There was Adrian Ray, Vijay Patel, Lee Henderson in 13th, recovering from that spin at the start. Marcus Gilby, David Harvey, Lenny Wood, Nick Lucci, and Luigi Amitrano to round out how they all finished.
Good stuff. That's Heat 2 done. Heat 3 is up next.
Here's your grid then for heat number 3 of this first round for the heavyweights in Senior Sprints Club 100 2023. Damien Smith starts this one from pole with the ever-experienced Steve Bosley alongside him. Kieran Chikti and Richard Newton make it an all-super heavyweight subclass second row. Kurt Holmes and Oliver Castro are row 3. Then it's Andrew Hicks and Mikey Nichols, Vinod Harani and Richard Allen to round out the top 10. Luke Elliott and Alexander Lamin are your 6th row of the grid. Marcus Naris and Antonio Gitsonio are next, with Pepe Lucchesi and Heinrich Watson Miller on row 8. Matthew Carlin Britton and Tom Jobson round out your 18 kart grid for the third heat of the day for our heavyweights and super heavyweights. Once again, just with a few laps of warm-up here for these drivers. So they'll be looking to familiarise themselves with the karts, get to grips with that. Just as a reminder into today. So, as we mentioned, Anwar Burrell Smith, your reigning champion in this category, moved to heavyweight. So Joe Holmes is your highest placed driver, but Richard Allen kicks off his season in this one. And that was, sorry, I thought I'd raise that topic just as you were putting your headset on there. But Richard Allen starts his season in this one as well. And a driver there who had a really, really strong season last time as well and was in that hunt.
And a particularly strong finish as well, which I think is always important at the start of a season. Your most recent form book is the end of last year, and Dickie Allen was on fire. He won the final here at Buckmore Park in November.
Yep.
Didn't win a championship, of course. That was decided literally just behind him. But he was fully deserving in winning that particular A final. And if he can find that same kind of spirit and that speed and translate it across a whole season, he's definitely... I mean, he was a title contender last year. It was a slight outside chance when he got into that final round. He was always just chasing those couple of points. But that was the level at which Anwar and Joe were racing last year. You know, Anwar's not here anymore. That's from his position. He'll be looking, well, that's one competitor out of the way.
Yep.
It's positioned nicely for a very good run for Richard Allen this year. And he's got to do the business out on track.
He definitely does. The other thing I want to draw attention to is making their debut in Class 1 in this heat. It just so happens we have all of the top 3 from Class 2.
Yes.
In the form of Kurt Holmes, Mikey Nichols and Steve Bosley. All happen to be in this heat, making their debut as Class 1 runners. So that's going to be an interesting one as well. They now carry those red number plates. You can see Steve Bosley there in the number 8. Very experienced driver. We always get good battles from Steve Bosley. Knows how to get his elbows up, but in a fair but robust way, I'd say.
In a family manner.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a chat to him during the paddock walk, and he was saying, I asked him, "You're back again.
Yeah.
What brings you back year in, year out?" And he said it's the family nature of Club 100. In particular, this class. He's raced in it for many years. And he's looking to be in that top 10 discussion again. As I say, he was 8th last year in the championship. I think we're going to go around again. I just wonder, is there a kart? Yes, there's one driver that's had to have a change. So we're just waiting on that particular individual to come back into the fold. I'm thinking, is it Lucchese?
I think it might be, yes.
Now getting back into position.
All super heavyweight row 2. It was actually Oliver Castro, I think, who was taking up his position there. But all super heavyweight second row on this grid as well, and an experienced one as well. Kieran Chixie with a number of seasons under his belt by this point. Richard Newton as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they get off the mark. Vinod Hirani alongside Oliver Castro, the other 2 super heavyweights in this field. So there's 4 of them in this one. Here you go then. I think we are going to be good for this start this time then. Damien Smith in the 34, Steve Bosley alongside in the 8. Eyes on the lights, engine notes rise, and away we go for heat number 3 into turn number 1. And it looks like a good start again from the pole side of the grid. Kieran Chixie there had a good start, but a really good start there for Kurt Holmes in the number 6, who slots into second place. No, he doesn't, because Richard Newton has had a great start as well and has got himself now up into second place in that number 22 car as they work their way through the S's for the first time.
Lovely, brave stuff from Richard Newton. Was bold on the inside through hairpin 1. That's where he got second place. He was in a fight for it with Kurt Holmes, Damien Smith, early leader in this race. Richard Allen down the inside of Steve Bosley there. The 3 on the 8s gains a position.
Kieran Chixie goes through as well, does he? He's going to have better drive up the hill. No, Bosley's going to keep his foot in and hold on to that one. But yeah, good, strong move there from Richard Allen. Early
penalties.
Doors,
penalties.
It's seen as the wrong way.
Penalties already coming in. I wonder if they're jump start penalties to be. No, they're both
bump and pass from Steve Bosley.
Pass. Oh, as Damien Smith has a wild moment there.
That's race lead change.
Yeah. Richard
Newton to the front. Didn't catch that. I'm not sure if there was. I don't know if he was helped into that or whether that was just he just got all crossed up into hairpin 1. We're going to see it again, thankfully.
No, I think the move was already done by hairpin 1. So yeah,
indeed,
I think that was.
I think he was just looking for a counter attack and outbraked himself, frankly. But he's been able to recover it and to find another corner. But that means we have a new race leader in the form of Richard Newton in the number 22. But he's coming under pressure already for the number 6 of Kurt Holmes, our Class 2 champion from last season. He's not going to dive down the inside of turn number 1. But you get a sense of inevitability there. There's going to be an attempt at the move. Here he goes then. Kurt Holmes down the inside of Richard Newton into hairpin 1. And Dickie Allen's on the scene as well. And the number 3 is going to switch back to the inside for hairpin 2 and get that move done. So 2 Class 1 runners there showing their experience, getting by there on Richard Newton and taking themselves up into first and second.
And that was really important for Richard Allen in the context of this race, because Kurt Holmes, you'd imagine, is going to try and pull away now.
Yep.
And he wants that gap to be as small as possible.
Damien Smith's round at the back.
Yeah, Damien Smith has had a spin down through paddock, and a couple of the drivers just squirreling through there.
And it was a double whammy as well, because at exactly the same moment he got a contact warning come through, so he's got to be a bit careful of that. As Steve Bosley sends one down the inside of Richard Newton.
There was a cone warning there for Richard Allen. So this is the classic example. Oh, sorry, no, it's a contact warning. No, it's a contact warning and a cone warning for Richard Allen, who now switches back and before finished the point has taken the lead of the race. Previously, that would have been a one-place penalty for Richard Allen, but not the case now, as we've been saying throughout the day. That is just a warning, but if he hits another piece of the track furniture and dislodges it, that is going to be a place deduction.
Which means as he gets past Kurt Holmes, he is net in the lead.
Yes.
Penalty, Mikey Nichols. Advantage by contact takeout. So I would imagine that's linked to +6 positions indeed, mate. I imagine that is what led Excuse me, to Damien Smith coming to a
You're
stop
right
there.
there.
Yep, I'm fine.
Just had a sudden hiccup. Track limit warning for Kurt Holmes. No hiccups for him or Richard Allen at the moment. And Richard Allen is the fastest driver out there, 46.827. Steve Bosley digging in deep there. This is a good start for the Boz, as we call him in this comms box. He's running well there. 1, 2, 3, all C1 drivers. Richard Newton still there in fourth. Remember, though, he does have a penalty. In fact, Bosley has a penalty as well, I've just remembered. So Kieran Jiggsy's on for a good result here. Could be looking at third place. Andrew Hicks, in that same regard, could benefit quite strongly from this. He's running in 7th place. Now, the penalties are applied from the back. By that, I mean Mikey Nicholls' penalty will be applied first. Everybody shuffles up if you're in that range. Then it would be the case of Richard Newton's, then Steve Bosley's, if the race was to finish like this. So, yeah, if you're in that region, around Hicks, around Lamin, Watson Miller as well, there's opportunities here to gain some positions due to decisions from race control. I mean, that race, I thought Kurt Holmes was going to throw one down the inside like we saw with Mike Coppin earlier. It's like buses coming two at once, not seeing a move, particularly through that left-hander, because it's so hard to so hard to make a gap work down there, but never mind.
Watson Miller, your highest place of your Class 3 novices. Am I right in thinking that he's had BUKC experience, though, Henry Watson Miller?
Yes.
Oxford?
Yes.
Yes. So a little bit of experience there, but still adjudged to be suitable for that Class 3.
Through hairpin 2 at some speed, which was not the case when we were here a few weeks ago for BUKC, where it was so frosty at the start of the day that drivers were having to come to a stop to get around the corner. There's just no grip there at all. Much faster conditions here today. Oh, Kurt Holmes looking for a move down the inside. We'll argue he was there, pod to pod with Richard Allen, has got it done.
Now,
forceful move.
Yeah,
but I'd say that was fair.
Yeah, I'd say that was fair.
Kurt Holmes was in control of his kart at all times through that move. Richard Allen throws it straight back at him.
Yeah. Just whilst this is starting to seriously come to the boil, are they going to let me? No, Kurt Holmes is going to go pod to pod with him, and Richard Allen too happy
now
about that. That's borderline for me. I should just say, whilst we were seeing that, we did see the first of a new kind of penalty, not new kind, but an adjusted penalty for 2023. 6 places will be deducted from where Kieran Jigsy finishes for an unsafe rejoining of the circuit, which led to contact.
Yes.
And that has got a new 6th position thing as Dickie Allen goes up the inside at Garda once again. So it doesn't really matter whether he was happy or not with Kurt Holmes' move earlier on in the lap. It's been he's got past, and here we go then on to the last lap. Kurt Holmes once again dives down the inside. If you're Steve Bosley, though, you've got to be licking your lips at the opportunity here. Dickie Allen's clearly not happy with the way in which Kurt is prizing open the door, but that was beautiful by Bosley. 3 abreast between the 2 hairpins, and Dickie Allen's gone round the outside of both. That was something else there by Dickie Allen. What is it about today, man, that's generating moves I've not seen either before or in
for a very long time.
That was really unusual, but it is not done at all here. Down towards Paddock Corner. Who's bold coming into this one? It stays as they were at the hill. Dickie Allen is understandably going to go tight there to deter any move. So long as he gets good drive off of the corner, he should be all right up the hill. It's been a heck of a battle here at the front between the top 3, but it is going to be Dickie Allen who opens up his tally with a win for 2023. Kurt Holmes challenged him all the way ahead of Steve Bosley. Richard Newton, well done to you, sir, holding on to 4th place there. That's a good result for you. Mikey Nicholls opens up his Class 1 career with 5th place in the number 5 car. Then it was Andrew Hicks, Heinrich Watson Miller. Brilliant drive by Heinrich there, 7th place within Class 3. Alexander Lamin, Kieran Jigsy, Antonio Gittonio rounds out your top 10. It was Pepe Lachesi, Marcus Darris, Vinod Harani, Tom Jobson, Luke Elliott, and Olivo Castro. And already my timing screen has gone blank because we need to look ahead to heat number 4. Let's take you through the grid then for the final heat of this first rotation of heats. Adam Wright and Mike Bodner are row 1. Scott Parker and Chris Alcock are on row number 2. Steve Lindley and Tom Angier make up row number 3. Row 4 is Kai Crawford and Bill Taylor. Richard Neal and Glenn Orford round out the top 10 on the grid, and then it's Nicholas Stieper and Carl Walker on row 6. Row 7 is going to be Yonald Muhai and Christian Hoos. Going to be Luke Russell and Jamie Buchan on row 8. Charlie James and Simon Dean to round out your 18-kart grid. Look at the grid music's quite groovy today, isn't it?
It's all new to you, isn't it?
It is.
All new.
It is.
For 2023.
I'm easily impressed. So they're on their warm-up laps now. This is the last time that the drivers will get the chance to do this. When we go into the second rotation, it will be straight to the rolling up procedure. The significance of that being that they just won't have the opportunity to get their iron in the car. And Andrew and I will need to be on it more with reading the grids to you because we'll get less chance. So that's a slight change from this point onwards. Other than that, everything is unchanged. We remain with 7-minute heats. And as I say, this is the last heat of this rotation. So after this, all of the drivers will have raced. So usually I say if you're tuning in to support a particular driver and you're not seeing them out on track, don't worry, they're probably in another race. That's still true. But if you've watched all the heats so far and they're not in this one, drop them a message. They missed their alarm or something. They're not
you know, have incidents on the way into the circuits happened before. Bill Taylor in this one. Interested to see how Bill gets on, our reigning super heavyweight champion.
Indeed.
Yeah, we'll see him. He's the only super heavyweight as well.
So well done, Bill. You've won.
He's won again.
Won the class.
Keep the support coming in. Really is valuable to us. Let's try and get the like count up to 150, shall we say? Have a go. If you just tuned in and you enjoyed the coverage here on Alpha Live, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for all your comments so far today. That's on the DDMM comms box cam. If you like your live timing, your race control notifications, track map, it's all there. You just have to put up with our ugly mugs as well.
Thought you were trying to sell it. But yes, indeed. And indeed, plenty of other Alpha Live action going on today. Once you're done watching this here, right, 'cause we're here, come on, this is the best one. But it's worth noting there is other Alpha Live action going on here on the YouTube channel. There's the Wilton Mill Kart Club, the Fast Hour Wilton Mill Kart Club. And we're going around again, so that gives me a chance to also say that it's the Classic Sports Car Cup, Classic Sports Car Club, the winter warm-up going on over at Silverstone today. That's also being covered by Alpha Live. So plenty of action. Do please subscribe to them to keep abreast of all of the stuff that they're doing. It's fantastic. I always love catching up with everything Alpha Live. And as Andrew was saying, do please head on over to our supplementary stream. Give us a like, share and subscribe. Even hit that notification bell, which will tell you when we go live, such as on Wednesday when we kick off the 2023 Club 100 iRacing Championship.
It's going to change Buckmore Park now, and they're leading the pole.
There we go.
Meanwhile, here at Buckmore Park, we're ready to go for heat number 4. Adam Wright takes us away from pole position, and it's a very good start for those on the pole side of the grid, as both Scott Parker and Steve Lindley cut through.
Yeah, it's much more clear-cut now that we're in these dry conditions relative to the lightweights. The pole side is getting away a lot better. I'd say Mike Bodner is already down to quite way down in the top 10, I'm afraid, as we've got a spinner at the back as well, who will try and check who that was on timing. But it is Adam Wright at the front, who, let's not forget, is a very experienced operator and has been a very consistent driver over the years. You can see Mike Bodner in the 37 there trying to recover some of the positions he's lost, unfortunately, on this first lap. Steve Lindley is up into second, and Chris Alcock there up the inside of, I think it was Scott Parker that was up the inside of at Garda. So at the end of lap number 1, it is Adam Wright who leads off of pole position, Steve Lindley in second, and Chris Alcock in third. The driver who was spun round at the back was Bill Taylor.
Ooh.
Was spun at hairpin 1.
I think Simon Dean has seen pit symbol.
He is.
Very useful at BUKC the other week. Thank you, Luke. Thank you for these new graphics. They're very good. 5 minutes and 40 to go.
Yep, absolutely.
Adam Wright hasn't always had the best of luck with streamed rounds. There's a long way to go in this one, of course. He'll be liking this position in front of the cameras, 1.5 seconds clear of the rest of the pack, and pulling away from them as well, which is impressive if you consider that it's Lindley and Alcock working together at the moment. They are not able to beat the pace of Adam Wright, who's the only driver in the 46s. I say that, Chris Alcock has just sneaked in there as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Worth bearing in mind, I mean, interesting here, the Class 1 runners have immediately got themselves to the head of the field. So the sort of expected order, as it were, has been assumed early on here. Steve Lindley making his debut as well as Class 1 runner, worth saying as well. He was 4th within Class 2. As Chris Alcock is going to go up the inside there at Garda, and Lindley is going to, I think, see fit to not fight that one too much and work together with him to try and keep in touch with Adam Wright. Albeit, Andrew, you're right, it has been a challenge, and it's going to be much more of a challenge if Adam Wright keeps saying fastest laps of the race like that.
That's really good work from Adam Wright, that he's made it pay at this stage of the race, whilst the others are fighting behind. He's just got on with it. And now got an over 2.5 second gap ahead, which in dry conditions, very hard now for Chris Alcock to pull that back, even if he had some help from behind. That's quite a sizable gap at this stage of the race.
Yep. Kai Crawford in second place there, because, or partially because of Alcock and Lindley battling last lap, has been able to reel them in and is now hanging on to the back of them. The highest placed Class 2 runner has by no means lost touch with the Class 1 runners at the front. Luke Russell is your highest placed novice driver at the moment, running in 10th place as it now is. He's done that because he's just got by on Mike Bodner as well, who Mike struggled off the start here. He started second on the grid, had a difficult time of it in lap 1. I think he just needs to settle down and find some momentum here. Does Mike? He's got plenty of experience, does Mike Bodner. But at the moment down in 11th place, unfortunately. You saw a quick look there, I think, of Glenn Orford. In fact, the battle there between Richard Neal and Scott Parker. And I think Scott Parker let Richard Neal back through there because he didn't want to accrue a penalty. And what it's allowed is the likes of Tom Angier and Glenn Orford to get onto the back of them. As Adam Wright sets another fastest lap of the race here, controlling this one brilliantly. And I think it's worth drawing attention to the fact that Adam Wright has in the past had a lot of success, but we didn't see him for a full season last year. We only saw him for the first half of last season. Oh, that's a spin! That's really uncharacteristic. That is the 25 of that's no, it's not the 25. I need my eyes tested.
It's 26.
It's the 26
of Tom Algier.
That is. I think that was unforced. Here's the replay.
Yep, just takes too much in. I think what's happened there is there's nearly another one behind.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about with the state of the circuit. Yes, it's all dry now, but there still will be very much at this time of year a racing line. And if you get off it and just try and ask the tyres to do a little bit too much, and we have been talking about how the karts are a bit more oversteery now with these new tyres, and it will snap on you. We've seen it a couple of times already today, but particularly down through Simon Street, where you are putting so much load, you're asking so many questions of the tyres. That could very, very easily happen, as could that. That is going to be at least a cone warning for Glenn Orford.
And he knew it the second it happened. Glenn Orford was, and it's, do you know what? It's quite easy to do in a way that you push so hard on the exit through paddock that once you realised that, bearing in mind the rear of these Club 100 karts wider than the front, and the delta between the front width and rear width is more than on some owner kart categories as well. So it can happen that you clip that, but them's the rules, and you've got to get used to the bounds of your kart. And there is the cone warning for Glenn Orford. So Glenn there benefiting from the new leniency showed on the cone warning there, and As I said earlier, I think it's a popular one with the drivers that they get at least one warning's grace.
Kai Crawford having a good one
He
here.
is, he really is.
Leading in C2 and is now all over the back of Steve Lindley for third place. Last lap board should be out now. And is Kai Crawford trying to go around the outside? Oh, you just see, again, gets off the racing line, kart squirms a bit, has to get out of the throttle to make sure he doesn't go round. That's good driving from Kai Crawford, well defended by Steve Lindley as well. 46.4 is the fastest lap of the race from Adam Wright, who has won this one as a canter as long as he can get round the final couple of corners. This is the closest scrap on circuit, highest up the order. Lindley and Crawford 4P3.
It's very much a figurative canter though, because he's been at galloping pace, make no mistake about that. And here he is now coming up the hill. Adam Wright, we didn't see him for a lot of last season, but he's been such a strong force in this championship before and takes the first win for himself for this year. Chris Alcott will finish in second. Steve Lindley in third, holds off Kai Crawford. Then it's Richard Neal. Scott Parker just about holds off Glenn Orford there for sixth place. Then it's Nicholas Steeper. Yonel Muhai in ninth, and then Carl Walker to round out the top 10. Bill Taylor recovers to 11th, then it's Luke Russell, Jamie Buchan, Mike Bodner, Christian Hoos, Charlie James, Tom Angier and Simon Dean. But Adam Wright, dominant fashion there to get his points tally off to a start. Already we're looking ahead to rotation number 2, which kicks off with heat number 5. Here's your grid then for heat number 5. Matthew Griffiths will start this one from pole, with Joe Holmes alongside him on the front row of the grid. Nicholas Walker and Edward Gordon are on row 2, with Richard Newton and Dan Giles on row 3. Row 4 is going to be Ethan Fitton and Damien Smith. Alex Pritchard and Matthew Batter are row 5, with Kurt Holmes and Lawrence Cheer next on row 6. Tom Jobson and David Harvey are next, with Jason Kirkham and Marcus Naris on row 8. Luigi Metrano and Henry Watson-Miller rounding out your 18 kart grid for this 5th heat of the round, and we're already good for the start, I believe. Matthew Griffiths in the 28, the number 2 of Joe Holmes alongside, and this is where we see the experience of Joe Holmes. We've seen some weak starts from the anti-pole side of the grid so far. Joe Holmes is out very wide as they go 4 abreast into hairpin 1, and through they go. But Joe Holmes, that was a bit of a heart-in-the-mouth moment for him there, as they come through hairpin number 2 as well. And this is quite a robust. I'm relieved to see everyone facing the right way after that series of corners, because that looked like quite a robust exchange. Yeah, I thought we were going to see Joe Holmes be the first person to really take the fight from starting on the anti-pole side of the grid. But as it happened, he got hung out to dry, as the bollards are never going to survive all of those carts hurtling towards it. And what this has meant is that it's allowed at the front quite a gap to form already as they come through to finish lap 1 for Alex Pritchard and Kurt Holmes. So really unusually, Joe Holmes is the Class 1 runner to have fared the worst across lap 1.
Yeah, he just got hung out to dry on the outside, and then it was all a bit messy on the inside of him as well. But the result was he's now down to 6th place.
Yep.
Fully expecting some notifications to come through from race control, because I think Paul Bollard got hit 3 times in that one.
Yeah.
And in fact, yes, there's been a bump and pass penalty for Edward Gordon, track limit warnings for Ethan Fitton and Edward Gordon again.
So here's the battle between Jason Kirkham and Richard Newton, and Nicholas Walker wants to buy in on that, as does Joe Holmes as well. He's going to get double overtake there. That's brilliant positioning from Joe Holmes. And he's going to do 2 positions in 1 corner there, take himself up to 4th place. Really good driving again in his 2nd heat of today as well from Richard Newton. He's impressing me so far, Andrew, driving nicely.
Track limit advantage penalty for Dan Giles. That was experience. That was just experience telling for Joe Holmes, that he knew those 2 carts ahead of him going wheel to wheel, they were going to run wide. If he just held back a little bit, he was going to have the undercut on and the speed differential up through the hill. That's exactly what he did. Alex Pritchard and Kurt Holmes now fighting, so 2 C1 drivers going toe-to-toe.
Yep.
I just wonder at this stage of the race, if you're Alex Pritchard and Kurt Holmes, do you want to work together? Pritchard seems intent on defending at the moment. They have got a good gap over Joe Holmes, 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, although Joe Holmes has just got by Richard Newton, so he's now in a position to chase them. I wouldn't be battling this much at this stage, to be honest.
Switchback's going to be on here.
Not even at half distance
No,
here. It's not going to be on for the switchback. I agree with you, mate. I expected Kurt Holmes to get on by there, but he didn't. I'd say this is just playing into Joe Holmes' hands for them to be battling at this point. You can see it's quite a gap, make no mistake about it, but if they're battling like this and Alex Pritchard goes wide around the bollards, Kurt Holmes is up into the lead there. So lead change. I suppose if Kurt can now, Alex Pritchard's not too happy about it. But if you're Kurt, then you can break away at this point, I guess. But yeah, this is, that wasn't best play in my opinion, as Joe Holmes sets the new fastest lap of the race.
And goes a second quicker than the top two.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting to see how that, the way they've played that last lap pans out for the remainder of the race. Richard Newton still running well though, in 4th place overall. Nicholas Walker having a good one as well. Edward Gordon in 6th, albeit he has accrued a penalty. Has he? Or was it just warnings? It was just warning. No, penalty. Sorry, penalty was shown for the 84 a few laps ago.
What's happening in Class 3 at the moment? Jason Kirkham is having another really strong run. He's up in 7th place. Richard Newton as well in the super heavyweights. There he is, number 22 in 4th place. Ooh, bit of a check there from Nicholas Walker across on Edward Gordon, racing the Elio De Angelis style helmet.
Yeah, he didn't like that. I think he felt that move was a bit late there. There's a little bit Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso in Austin, Texas last year. I can get the sentences out. There's a track limit warning for Alex Pritchard. He's got to be careful with those. He will accrue a penalty if he does it too often. Here's a battle on screen. Heinrich Watson-Miller ahead of Jason Kirkham and Dan Giles. So that means there's been a change, actually. Heinrich Watson-Miller now your highest placed Class 3 driver, as will be confirmed on timing as they come through. Now there he is going up into 7th place. It's a good little battle going on there.
Pace looking better now for the top two. Now that they're no longer squabbling over that position. They're both into the mid 46s. Edward Gordon again trying to find a way past Richard Newton. Always worth doing, even if you've got some form of post-race penalty, because in terms of the points, yes, you won't finish ahead of the driver ahead when the penalty is applied post-race, but you'll still have a net gain of some points for overtaking somebody on track.
Yeah, absolutely. As once again, Edward Gordon is looking for a move on Richard Newton and gets the job done. That was nicely done into turn 1 there for Gordon. Trying to negate a penalty, as we were saying. Nicholas Walker on the scene as well there in the number 11. Trying to pick up any spoils that come his way. Another nearly 3/10 taken out of the lead 2 last lap by Joe Holmes. I think he's going to run out of runway.
Yep.
Unless Pritchard and Holmes really started to battle. Again.
The focus, of course, is those finals. I talked to Joe earlier that he said, yep, that was where I lost it last year. He had a perfect set of heats results.
Yep.
And once drops were applied, as we go on to the final lap, it was getting himself in a good position and winning more of the finals. That's his aim for 2023. Kurt Holmes, though, since taking the lead of the race, has managed this one very well.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And just going to control this one to the end now, coming through the latter half of the lap. On this last lap, you can see how Joe Holmes has reeled in the gap, but it's not going to be enough. Coming through Garda, Alex Pritchard isn't close enough to try anything, so we'll settle for a decent haul of points for second place. It's now 27 points that he'll get, but the 30 points for the win in heat number 5 will go the way of Kurt Holmes, who begins his Class 1 career in heavyweights with a win. Reigning Class 2 champion from last year wins the race. Alex Pritchard in second, Joe Holmes in third. It was Edward Gordon, Richard Newton, Nicholas Walker, Heinrich Watson-Miller, your highest placed novice driver, Jason Kirkham next, ahead of Dan Giles, Tom Jobson, Lawrence Cheer, Matt Griffiths, David Harvey, Matthew Batter, Luigi Amitrano, Marcus Narris, Damien Smith, and Ethan Fitton with some issue there that meant he retired from that one. Coming up next is heat number 6. Here's your grid then for heat number 6. It's going to be Simon Kavanagh and Tim Hill on row 1, Lee Henderson and Adrian Ray on row number 2, Lenny Wood and Steve Bosley on row 3. It will then be Kieran Chigsey and Scott Parker on row 4, Andrew Hicks and Bill Taylor next on row 5, Callan Sigafus and Olavo Castro are on row 6. Simon Dean and Jonathan Wilson are next, ahead of Mo Hassan and Jonel Luhai. Rupert Rickson and Jamie Buchan round out the 18-cart grid. How do you have that jingle and not wrap the grid? How have you been avoiding that temptation?
Well, there's a lot of experience on those first 3
There
rows,
isn't there? Yeah.
Kavanagh, Hill, Henderson, Ray, Wood, these are all names
it's
that
a good
have been doing
point.
this for quite a while.
In fact,
and have raced other things as well.
I'm going to say, in Lenny Wood and Steve Bosley on row 3, that's going to be the most experienced row of a grid today. I challenge, I suppose, I don't know, the A...
Simon Kavanagh and Tim Hill pushes it pretty close as well.
That's true. I suppose the A final in the lightweights might have had more experience, but yeah. Here we go, though. Away we go, and that's a slightly scruffy grid formation for me. Simon Kavanagh won't mind. He's got started well in pole position, but I was a bit confused there. We might see some penalties for breaking formation as Lenny Wood is down the inside of Kavanagh into hairpin 1 and takes the lead. Lee Henderson trying to go round the outside of hairpin 2. And that's a restart, and I'm not surprised, Andrew, because to be absolutely frank, what was with that formation?
That was all anti-pole side, just all breaking over way too early.
Yeah.
So for the uninitiated, there's a set of tram lines that you'll see pretty much from Cafe Corner up and over the start-finish line, and the drivers need to stay within those tram lines.
Yep. In fact,
so
they start there.
And they need to stay in those. Now, you can see, obviously, from the anti-pole side, on the right of your screen as you're watching it now, yes, you want to get over to the left. Sorry, you want to get over to the right, i.e. across the screen, as quickly as possible. Their right, your left. I think they all just forgot. I think they all just forgot that they needed to stay per the regulations in those lines. So
yeah,
but because there were so many of them do it, it's just like, right, okay,
yeah,
restart, go again, and there'll probably be a minute knocked off the race time here.
They have been reinforcing those rules. There is a new penalty for breaking formation of 2 places deducted.
Yeah.
I feel like the stewards would have applied those rules had they not seen that so many people have broken them. They just went, right, let's knock time off of it. Yep. Let's try that again then. That looks better in the tram lines this time. Here we go then. Kavanagh on your left, driver's right. Tim Hill alongside in the 46, and away we go. And actually, that's quite a good even start from both sides of the grid there. Tim Hill hanging on around the outside against Lee Henderson. Lenny Wood will be hoping to replicate his move from before and gives it a go, but this time rather than getting him through on Kavanagh, the pole sitter, it's only good enough to get him through on Lee Henderson, and indeed Henderson will have the inside line in the number 13 on that next corner, and Steve Bosley's arrived, so Lenny Wood will lament that there was a restart called, because rather than in first place, he is in 4th as they come down the hill, and there's an incident there coming out of the S's, and a driver has gone into the wall quite heavily. I think it is Bill Taylor.
Yeah, Bill Taylor's involved.
I'm delighted to see that he's getting out of the cart. We'll have to see whether the stewards throw any form of full course yellow there, but that's never a nice place to see an incident because of the speed that the carts are coming out of the S's. As they come up the hill for the first time, though, it is Lee Henderson who leads ahead of Simon Kavanagh. And look at this, Bosley versus Wood, and Wood's round. And there was a bit of pod to pod there, was there not?
Yeah, there was.
There was not like earlier when we saw an uncharacteristic mistake from Lenny Wood in his first heat. I'm delighted to say that I think everyone's got started again after that incident.
Bits of the barrier have been rearranged, and everything's backing up now as they go down the hill.
Yeah.
This is all going to get a little bit tight because Lee Henderson really lifted off there.
He did.
I think we have gone full course yellow. That is why we've gone full course yellow.
We have. You're absolutely right, mate. Full course yellow out. I'm delighted to say that it's the barrier that's predominantly, although I can see the number 15 of Scott Parker is pulling into the pits. So I wonder if he's
got damage on the right-hand side.
Oh, yeah, that's
right-hand side pod is out of shape. I think the rear bumper is out of shape as well.
Bill Taylor is still circulating, but is, in fact, I think we called it that Bill Taylor had gone in the wall. Scott Parker and Bill Taylor have very similar race suits. So I wonder if it might have been him.
Bill Taylor's fallen down the order
He
as
has,
well.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know which one was actually in the
It was
wall.
Bill.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, Bill Taylor has started circulating again. His kart looks fine as he's just going by our window, as we're still under full course yellow here. But yeah, he's far off the back, I'm afraid, is Bill Taylor in this one, and that was race run for Scott Parker. I'm delighted to say, though, that it's only the karts and the barrier which have really had any issue there. All of the drivers seem to be okay. It's never nice to see incidents there. As I think we're going to be good to go back to green, are we this time? They're still working on the barrier. Yeah, I can see them out there.
Because I think what's happened is that there's a conveyor belt wrapping around the barriers, which has absolutely done its job because we did not see karts in and through the barriers.
Correct.
That needs to be, so you see the black fabric you see on your screens at the bottom edge of the barrier, that is being replaced through here. There, you see it being replaced there, and the barriers need to be put back in shape as well. Until that is done, we will stay under full course yellow. Now, we well could be, so we've got 2 minutes and 45 to go. Okay, I think we are now back to green. We will be back to green in a moment.
Yeah, I think they're going to resume it this time across the line because the barrier has been repaired. So I would assume we're going to see green flag, and this is going to be interesting. No, that's still showing yellow. They are still under full course. Apologies. So this is going to be, I think, are we going to get like 2 laps?
3 laps.
3 laps of racing if they, well, it depends. I'm not saying it. If you're Lee Henderson, you want to back off. You want as fewer racing laps as possible here, because the pace under a full course yellow is dictated by the lead car, so long as it's reasonable. Look at the stream here. This could be interesting.
That's 2 minutes. I think Lee's done a pretty good job with this. I think he's going to leave this with 2 laps of green. If we even go back to green this time around, let's wait and see.
Yes, we are. Green flag confirmed then. Lee Henderson then has to be the stopper in the bottle for the next few laps. This could be really interesting here. Simon Kavanagh is in second place, but interestingly, it's Kavanagh who's under attack more here from Tim Hill, and Tim Hill is down the inside of hairpin 1. Steve Bosley sees the opportunity as well. Is he going to get that job done? It's going to be 3 wide through hairpin 2. That's going to be scruffy on the exit as they all work themselves out. But that could not have gone better, in my opinion, for Lee Henderson off of the restart. He's now got about 6 kart lengths between himself and Tim Hill. Steve Bosley's got himself into 3rd place. But here we go. Lee Henderson, is it going to be last lap board this time around? It's going to be quite, no, it's going to be really tight. I think it won't quite be, but we'll see as he comes across the line at the top of the hill. Look at this, they're all working themselves out. 3 abreast up to Cafe Corner in the mid-pack here. And it's not last lap board, so there are 2 more to go. Penalties being issued. Oliver Castro for breaking formation, speeding under yellows for Castro as well. Bill Taylor, now this one's interesting, I thought I saw it. Bill Taylor got a fastest lap of the race during the full course yellow and has received a penalty for speeding under yellows. I think that one's fairly demonstrably true. Lenny Wood for overtaking under yellows. So a few drivers did not get that restart procedure, or indeed the full course yellow procedure, correct.
Lee Henderson has not had a Club 100 Sprints race win in nearly 2 years.
This could be something here. He's going to come around this time to definitely see the last lap board. And I don't think Tim Hill's going to have enough pace to overhaul him. New fastest lap of the race from Lee Henderson, a 47 dead. He's just got to bring this one home. And, yep, circumstances played the way they did, but you've got to take the chances when you can.
But you've got to say as well, what Lee did during the full course yellow was a supreme job. But the pressure is on now. He's checking over the shoulder, seeing that Tim Hill is there. It's just got to be clean. It doesn't need to be that quick. It's just got to be precise. Down the hill now, through Sime Sweep. This is going to be a very popular victory if Lee Henderson can close it out. He's round the danger spot of where those cones are. He's got 2 corners to go. It's nearly been 2 years since we've been able to say this in the Club 100 heavyweight sprints. Lee Henderson is a race winner. Brilliantly done by Lee Henderson, and he wins comfortably by 1.6 seconds ahead of Tim Hill. Steve Bosley in third, Callan Sigafoos fourth, fifth Jonathan Wilson, sixth Simon Kavanagh. What a race, Howard, for Lee Henderson.
Yeah, Jonathan Wilson as well, class 3.
Yeah.
Fifth place. That was 4 racing laps, but as you say, he played that full course yellow perfectly, did Lee Henderson. Fair play, right. Well, that was Heat 6. Heat 7's coming up next here at Buckmore Park. Here's your grid then for heat number 7. Dickie Allen will start this one from pole with Alexander Lamin alongside Vinod Harani and Luke Elliott at row 2, with Chris Alcock and Jacob Harris on row number 3. Elliot Alt and Tim Penny are next, with Adam Wright and Joe Bailey on row 5. Mikey Nichols and Tim Williams are on row number 6. Stuart Kirk and Richard Melton are next, with Matthew Carlin Britton and Christian Hoos on row 8. Row 9 of this 18-kart grid is going to be Christopher Potts and Luke Russell. And well, maybe not the most racing action in that one, but I kind of loved the technicality of what we just saw there.
A win's a win.
A win's a win, absolutely, 100%. Win's a win, and thankfully, no one came to blows. No one suffered any injury in that full course yellow incident, so it was just good to watch. Bit of checking up here on the grid. They've got to be a bit careful here. They are under starters orders though, and Dickie Allen gets them underway. And it's another strong start from pole there. I'd have to say, in some ways, anti-pole side caught napping again, because look at how Richard Allen has pulled out a gap here.
I think P3 was also caught napping.
P3, everyone was caught napping, I think. I think there was a bit of bumping and barging that distracted people there. And Richard Allen with a good start, and Vinod Harani has lost out a little bit off the start there. I can see Chris Alcock is one of the beneficiaries there. Alcock up into third place. Off of that start as they'll stream their way through Paddock Corner, but dream start for Dickie Allen there in the number 3. Through Garda goes Alexander Lamin, being hotly pursued by Chris Alcock as they stream up the hill for the first time in this one. At the end of lap number 1 then, Richard Allen leads, Alexander Lamin second, ahead of Chris Alcock. Elliot Alt with a good start as well up to 4th, and Adam Wright, who's got himself up to 5th. Really good start for Adam there, who is already down the inside, actually, of Elliot Alt there. So that is right up to 4th place.
Good opportunity for this, I feel, for Alexander Lamin. Another, well, at this stage, very experienced Club 100 driver. I remember Alexander being in the sprints back in 2014, for example, or 2014, 2015. So this is a good opportunity for him to get some good points on the board, start of the season. He's got some big hitters behind in the shape of Chris Alcock and Adam Wright, and Elliot Alt's been pretty good so far today as well. Mikey Nichols, I feel, needs a good result in this one. And to the inside, decisive manoeuvre from Chris Alcock. And Adam Wright's going to slip down the inside as well. Lamin will try and fight round the outside, but it's a bit slippery through hairpin number 1. Elliot Alt biding his time. For his age, is a very experienced driver, is Elliot Alt, particularly in this paddock. And there's Richard Allen, just supremely in control again, Howard.
Yep, absolutely. Playing it really well so far. Heading up to Garda. Interesting to see Mikey Nichols and Tim Williams not quite making hay as Class 1 drivers in this field yet. Just trying to get onto the back of this pack we're looking at now, to be honest. Just in a bit of clean air, trying to make the way up. Number 10 of Jacob Harris looking for a tighter line through 1 and 2 to tuck underneath those ahead of him, but can't quite make that one stick. Tim Penny showing more of the good pace he had earlier in the day. Fastest lap of the race in 7th place in the number 36. And that's right through on Alcott. Adam Wright's through and up into 2nd place there. As they come down the hill, you can see the 47 ahead of the 4. So Adam Wright somewhere, don't think we quite caught it, but executed the pass and up into 2nd place. And Chris Alcock with the counter-attack there into Garda, and that's a bold move there to go, no, you don't, sunshine. I'm going to be in 2nd. This is side by side here through Cafe Corner, and it's going to be Adam Wright round the outside of Cafe Corner. That's beautiful stuff from the driver, the number 47. And showing his experience and speed there is Adam Wright, because Chris Alcock, make no mistake, is not too shabby a driver. So to pull that move was very impressive there from Adam Wright. What it is doing, though, is it is causing him to fall back from Richard Allen at the head of the field.
It's great driving from both of them.
Yes.
And, for me, because there's been times I think you've gone through Cafe Corner side by side. You can get through it, as Adam Wright and Chris Alcock have shown, but sometimes it's all too easy to just lean on a competitor and be borderline with the fairness. That was very good sporting driving from both of them through that portion of the track.
Elliot out with a good run here. Alexander Lamin feeling the need to go defensive and take a slightly shallower line. The issue is that I don't know, I've watched him over the last half lap, Andrew. I'd say Lamin is almost going too defensive. He's going defensive every corner. And it's just, I wonder if it's just compromising his overall pace a bit too much.
Well, I think it's going to bring this group on your screen into it. Jacob Harris, Mikey Nichols, Tim Williams, Tim Penny, they're all in there. And they've all got good pace. Joe Bailey's on the back of it as well.
See here, for example, where he's going on the shallow line here into Garda, and it would have to be one heck of a lunge from Elliot Alt anyway in that position.
Yep.
So I wonder, it's easy for me to say, I'm sat here in a nice warm comms box, but for my money, Lamin would do well to just maybe push for a lap. Focus on pushing for a lap. There's another fastest lap of the race from Adam Wright. 46.535. He is trying to, it's 0.4 of a second he just took out Dickie Allen. He's taking the fight here. He might run out of time to do it, but Adam Wright, as I say, don't let his number plate number fool you. He has been at the sharp end of this heavyweight category in a number of seasons. Did not do a full season last year, but this is brilliant to watch him come back here as up the inside goes Elliot Alt. And so that is, so maybe Alexander should have ignored my advice, I don't know, but it does mean he's open to attack now from Mikey Nichols, who's through, and so too is Tim Williams. And that's all been a costly lap there for Alexander Lamin, but he's going to keep holding on to them if he can at all help it. Another fastest lap, 46.492 from Adam Wright. Another 4.8, another 4.5 tenths out of Dickie Allen.
He's going to wish there's 2 more laps in this race. There is simply not going to be because of time, because Adam Wright's pace here is very, very good. This will give him not the race win in the most likely situation, but it'll give him a lot of confidence for later on in the day.
Not half. Not half. Up the inside goes Tim Williams. Sorry, Andrew, on Mikey Nichols there. And we're going to have a counter attack there at the hill. No, it's going to stay as it is. So nice move there from the driver of the number 96.
Buoyed on, I'm sure. Big West Ham United fan is Tim Williams. You see the detail of the club crest on his suit there. Got a win yesterday, I think I'm right to say.
Another 4.5 tenths taken out of Dickie Allen last time around. You're absolutely right, mate. We are on the last lap, though. Richard Allen is going through about paddock corner section now. So here they are. You can see how the gap has closed up. Adam Wright, as you say, mate, will wish there was another lap or two on this one. But for me, that's a gauntlet being thrown down, albeit in second place. Richard Allen will come through to take the win for heat number 7.
He knows.
He knows. Yeah, he's relieved to just see that checkered flag. Adam Wright with an impressive turn of speed in second. Chris Alcock in third. Elliot Alf, highest placed of your Class 2 drivers there in fourth. Tim Williams in fifth, ahead of Mikey Nichols. Then it was Lamin, Penny, Bailey, Jacob Harris to round out your top 10. Luke Elliott, Stuart Kirk, Christian Hoos, Vinod Harani, Luke Russell, Richard Melton. And we expect Matthew Carlin Britton and Christopher Potts to round out the 18 finishers of heat number 7, with heat 8 coming up for you right next on the stream. Let's look at your grid then for the final race of the second rotation of heats for this round. Glenn Orford and Carl Walker are your front row, with Richard Neal and Nicholas Steeper on row 2. Ethan O'Donnell and Sam Bensley are row 3, with row 4 being made up of Mike Bodner and Paul Williams. There they are. Joe Wright and Kai Crawford to round out the top 10. Vijay Patel and Steve Lindley are row 6. Row 7 is going to be Tom Angier and Nick Lucci. And there will be Charlie James and Antonio Gitsonio on row 8. Marcus Gilby and Pepe Lechesi to round out your 18-cart grid. Do keep your comments coming in. We appreciate them. Greg Smith very happy with Lee Henderson's result a few moments ago. Good to see. Hope you're enjoying the coverage, Greg. Great to have some interaction from you. Again, away we go then for this one. Glenn Orford leads them away. And again, for me, that was an interesting formation from the anti-pole side of the grid as Steve Lindley goes very wide. They all stream through the late day sunshine here into hairpin number 1. It is still Orford, though, in the number 35 as side by side there goes Carl Walker and Richard Neal contesting second place in the 30 and the 55 respectively. I'm delighted to say everyone's pointing in the right direction after that one. But a dream start once again for Glenn Orford. Say once again, dream start for the pole sitter, I should say once again. It was not for the first time. The pole sitter's been able to get a few kart lengths in hand. Much better start for Mike Bodner, though, I'm delighted to see there in 4th place.
Needs to keep it under control, though, as Glenn Orford was a bit wide coming up or down through Simon's sweep. Decent first lap. That now there was a big clang that I just heard.
Bang then.
Now, was that a door? Was that a bollard? We'll see in a few moments if anyone's delayed coming over the line. No.
Penalty.
False alarm. I think it was a door.
Penalty for V. No, it wasn't. It was the. I can see it. JV is kicking back out the bollards on the inside of Cafe Corner.
JV's going to need new boots after this weekend, I think.
He is. No, that was someone collecting the bollards at Cafe Corner on the inside.
Yeah.
Vijay Patel is the only driver to have received a penalty so far for forcing a driver wide. But it's an interesting one, as Mike Bodner has a little nibble at Carl Walker there through Garda. It stays as they were. Yes. Jamie's going to be keeping a hawk eye on that now because I don't think they saw who caused that. So I think they've got away with it.
It's just happened again.
Yes, as Mike Bodner coming under pressure from Tom Angier, I think it is.
It's all right.
No, Angier now under pressure from the 70. Oh, and that's so disappointing for Nicholas Steeper. It's easily done. He was right on the limit. Right on the limit with that. I really feel for him because it's so easily done. He was trying to be so bold on the brakes that the back just started to kick round. And it all just fell apart from there. We've all been there. We've all been there. Glenn Orford still leads then up the hill. Which, I know it's early doors, but surely if it were to finish like this would be a first win for Glenn. I don't think we've seen that before. He's under pressure from Richard Neal, though. As you can see here, not a lot of field spread in this pack. There's still really nice, tightly packed here. You know, this is further back. This is Gitsonio versus... Wow, this is Gitsonio versus Charlie James, who gets all out of shape under the braking there. Good to see that there weren't any spins, but there's a gesticulation there from Gitsonio, which is on the... I can see why he's annoyed. That was an interesting attempt at an overtake there. But drivers just trying to cut their teeth, get used to these karts for 2023. Change for second place. In fact, something's happened to Richard Neal out there. He's lost... In fact, where is Richard Neal? He's dropped down to 6th place from 2nd. Sorry, mate, you
I was just about to say Richard Neal has not won a race. Didn't win a race all of last year or the year before, or 2019. I think that's going to remain the case, unfortunately, after that lap.
He had a costly lap there, didn't he?
That was a timey-wimey comms box curse.
It was.
Richard, if you're watching that back later.
Yeah, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. Pepe Lechesi with the fastest lap of the... fastest lap of the race set there by Pepe in the number 25. Here is Paul Williams, who has quietly but steadily worked his way up the order, actually, up to 5th place. Experience showing there. This is now ahead of Richard Neal, who needs to be careful because he's just had the track limits warning. There is O'Donnell, who's coming under pressure from Kai Crawford, but positioned his kart nicely there, I think, to deter a move, and is going defensive into hairpin 1 as well. Do you need to keep an eye on the battle for 3rd, actually?
Steve Lindley's just got past Richard Neal there for 6th place.
There's the battle for 3rd. That was Mike Bodner and Tom Angier, and then Paul Williams leads the next pack of karts battling over 5th place. So here is Angier in the 26 challenging the 37 to Bodner.
Good response this from Tom Angier.
Yes.
A disappointing race.
Good point.
Earlier on in the afternoon. 2 minutes to go. Still Glenn Orford leading this race by a second as down the inside. Angier very decisive there on Mike Bodner. That's him up to 3rd.
Yeah, really good run up the hill and set up the move into turn number 1 as Carl Walker sets the new fastest lap of the race and takes 3.5 tenths of a second out of the lead gap. It's good, but once again, Andrew, I'm asking the question, is it enough with the time that's left on the clock here? If he can do that again.
Got a chance. He's got a chance here because it just depends on how much time. There may be 3 laps left in this. He's
just
pushing on, looking calm, looking relaxed. I like when I see that from a driver where they're not too tense up around the shoulders.
Yeah.
Just letting the karts do the work. Say 47.4 for Orford last time around, another 47.4, 47.2. So that was a quarter of a second, and I think they're gonna have 3 laps here.
Yep.
Yeah, because they'll go round. No, they'll have 2. No, it'll be 2. Sorry, I suddenly thought it was at WMKC then. We have no +1 laps here. It'll be 2 more laps for Orford to hold out here. Paul Williams there having a fight with Samuel Bensley. That's over 6th place.
Would that be the same WMKC that viewers can enjoy on the Alpha Live channel once they're done here?
Good. You're very good. Yes, full enough.
Yes.
Pepe Lucchese has had a track limit warning. The number 25, Paul Williams, trying to find a way back past Bensley. Love that down the inside, but Bensley may have the switchback here, the double switchback, or even looking around the outside. That's going to get very, very tight. And Williams holds off. But here comes Lucchese and Crawford as well. We're on to the last lap. Lucchese looks down the inside. In the number 25, fastest lap of the race goes to Steve Lindley.
Do they know that JV's watching that corner?
Definitely. That's why they're doing it. 10 seconds to go. Track limit warning for Carl Walker. I think just like we saw before, as Bensley looking back down the inside of Williams. He's just going to run out of time here. Glenn Orford is going to take a really well-managed victory. Not the first time we've said that today. Number 92 of Ethan O'Donnell, we just saw pass through the shot. He's having another strong run here in what is his debut in Club 100. But Glenn Orford takes the race victory. Oh, just by a 10.5 ahead of Carl Walker. What a run for the Big Sky driver.
Oh, look at that.
And Tom Angier 3rd, 4th for Mike Bodner, 5th for Steve Lindley. And then look at that, 6th down to 11th, covered by 1.2 seconds. It was Williams, Bensley, Crawford, Lucchese, Neal and O'Donnell. Wow, what a finish that was to the end of rotation number 2. Heat 9 is up next.
Here's your grid then for heat number 9. Bill Taylor will definitely be looking for a good heat result here. He's had a tough time of it so far today, starting from pole position as he is in this 9th heat. So bear in mind this is the last chance for all of these drivers to accrue as much points as possible ahead of the finals. Lawrence Shearer is alongside him. Alex Pritchard and Kurt Holmes are row 2. Luke Elliott and Joe Holmes are row number 3. Vinod Harani and Richard Allen are next, with Kieran Chigsey and Scott Parker to round out the top 10. Adam Wright and Dan Giles on row 6. Rupert Rickson and Luke Russell are row 7. David Harvey and Richard Melton row 8, with Mo Hassan and Christopher Ports row 9. My goodness me, this is a really strong grid. Really strong grid in this one. We're under starters orders. Bill Taylor will lead them away, and away we go for heat number 9. We've got both Holmeses, we've got Adam Wright, we've got Richard Allen. They're all on the same grid. This is quite something for a heat here. It is still Bill Taylor. It's all clean so far through hairpin 1. Alex Pritchard is the driver to challenge for the lead early on, but it is still Bill Taylor who will lead them down the hill at the head of the field, as Kurt Holmes has slotted into 3rd place, and Dickie Allen has got himself up to 4th already, having started 8th on the grid, as they all stream their way through. And there is the move from Alex Pritchard. Bill Taylor's going to keep his foot in it, and I think Pritchard sees fit to let him just have that one, because he doesn't want to be done for a bump and pass, as they will come up the hill for the first time. Joe Holmes, Kurt Holmes and Richard Allen are very much all contesting the same piece of racetrack at the moment. Very little field spread as well in that first lap, as Bill Taylor has retained the lead there from pole position.
Has indeed. A mini A final has broken
It
out
is,
in
isn't it?
this
Look at
race.
this.
Oh, it's Allen down the inside of Pritchard there, going for second place. And Joe Holmes is on the scene and pounces.
And then Kurt Holmes is going to do the same into Simon Sweep. He's going to have a go at least. Alex Pritchard gets the back out as a result. Lawrence Cheer must be there going, what's going on in front of me here in that number 29 car? Kurt Holmes up the inside of Alex Pritchard at Garda. That's the number 6 on the number 7. And I think he made that stick. Yes, he did. And now Alex Pritchard is coming under attack from the likes of Lawrence Cheer and Scott Parker as well. That, as you say, mate, was like a little mini A final kicking off there.
And right on cue, there's Adam Wright, who just spotted him in the background, picking them off one by one, being quite efficient as he does.
Yeah.
So that's right up to 7th place now.
Pounce on Pritchard here into hairpin
what
2.
happened there with Alex Pritchard coming off of
know.
hairpin number 1? Bit of contact with Lawrence Cheer there.
Adam Wright's... Why have they got all thrown out the guidebook on where you pass around Buckmore Park? This is ridiculous. Look at this side-by-side through Ballman's towards Paddock. Of course. And Bill Taylor being challenged by Joe Holmes and Dickie Allen, who don't go by because they're both battling with each other, and Kurt Holmes is ready to pick up the spoils.
What's going on? What? What is going on in this heat?
Has anyone told them there's trophy finals later on? Bill Taylor, fair play to you, sir, holding on to first place for now, as Joe Holmes is half in attack, half in defence, and there's Kurt Holmes down the inside of Dickie Allen, who goes up wide on the exit of hairpin 2. Now Joe Holmes goes for the move on Bill Taylor, and they're side-by-side heading towards the S's, but I think Bill Taylor will concede. So that's Joe Holmes up into first place. Dickie Allen now down into Simon Sweep, as you do. Goes around the outside of the next left-hander ahead of Paddock. And now Kurt Holmes is through as well. Bill Taylor, don't you worry, sir. You were driving fine. You just got caught by whatever that was in the form of those three drivers.
I have seen Dickie Allen do that before, but it's just... Oh...
I feel like
this race was born different. There's a good move. That's a more conventional one. Thank you, Kieran Chigsey. That was a conventional overtake on Scott Parker into turn 1.
Yep, that was nice there. Oh, right, simmer down. Yes, and already Scott Parker coming under pressure there from Luke Elliott off the back of that move. Alex Pritchard and Adam Wright just flashed through your shot there. And then came Kieran Chigsey. So, Joe Holmes leads ahead of Richard Allen and Kurt Holmes. Is this a bit of a dress rehearsal, methinks? But that's how they line up with 3 minutes still to go on this one. And Bill Taylor in 4th place. Yeah, it's a good point.
Forced to drive a wide penalty for Kieran Chigsey.
Yeah, I think that's the only penalty we've had so far. No, Luke Russell as well broke formation on the race start. As Scott Parker has got by on Kieran Chigsey there. So that's a change there.
Change back.
Change back
where
indeed.
They were
yep.
a lap ago. Mo Hassan's having a good run again. I just saw him there in the number 53.
Good point. Good point. Coming through centre and up the hill now is Scott Parker.
Pace very even between the two leaders. Joe Holmes and Richard Allen both doing a 46.5 something.
Yep.
Kurt Holmes has just PB'd in with a 46.6. How's Adam Wright getting along? He's in 6th place at the moment, trying to find a way back past Alex Pritchard. They're trying to work together to re-catch Bill Taylor here on your screen, coming down through Simon Sweep. Stunning couple of corners. Yep. If I may say so. Scott Parker ahead of Kieran Chigsey, and Luke Elliott's coming into the picture as well. There he is. Is that a hit from the number 53 of Mo Hassan?
Challenge, by the way, at this time of day. You'll see it as the drivers come around here. Not only is Cafe Corner a blind corner, but it's starting to be a corner where the sun is directly in your eyes as you come up the hill. I know this
You'll
partially.
see it on DDM
I was going to say,
cam as well.
I can see it because my commentary colleague is
I've
being
not gone to
blinded.
the heavens.
He's not. You look like...
Don't worry, certain person watching. The hat isn't coming out. I've left it in the car. Not again. 60 seconds to go. Joe Holmes leading by a second. DDMM inside jokes. Here's Alex Pritchard and Adam Wright. 4th and 5th places. Good scrap this between two accomplished drivers. Well, I could run out to the car and grab it in between before the next race.
Yeah, yeah. So, here is Alex Pritchard. And now it's a case of can he keep Adam Wright at bay, as that is the main thing for them to fight over at this point. Going defensive into hairpin 2, and he's going defensive out of hairpin 2. He knows how experienced Adam Wright is, but again, is that too defensive? One wonders. Meanwhile, Joe Holmes, he's just gone through the shot there. Joe Holmes will be heading up the hill towards victory, but look at this. This is a tasty little battle, this. But I don't think Adam Wright's going to be able to do it. Joe Holmes is going to cross the line. There he is to take the win. Richard Allen in second, Kurt Holmes in third, Alex Pritchard in fourth, ahead of Adam Wright. Bill Taylor, highest place of the non-Class 1 runners, in sixth. Lawrence Chair next, ahead of Scott Parker, Kieran Chigsey. Luke Elliott rounds out your top 10. Dan Giles is in 11th. Mo Hassan in 12th. David Harvey is next. And that's my timing screen just gone off. Bits of the comms box are falling apart, but here we're getting ready for heat number 10. Let's look at the grid then for heat number 10. Matthew Batter and Stuart Kirk make up row number 1. Joe Bailey and Callan Sigafus are row 2, with Nicholas Steeper and Tim Hill on row 3. Row 4 will be Nicholas Walker and Lee Henderson. Elliot Alt and Damien Smith will be row 5, with Richard Newton and Jacob Harris on row number 6. Then it'll be Jamie Buchan, Pepe Lachesi, Charlie James and Simon Dean on row 8, and Christian Hoos and Yonald Muhai to round out your 18 kart starters in this anti-penultimate heat. This is heat 10 of 12. Afterwards, we will be getting into the trophy finals. We're already good for a go, though. Under starters orders, eyes on the lights, engine notes rise, and away we go. Matthew Batter in that number 70 Darn on your left, driver's right, as they stream towards turn number 1, I should say, not hairpin 1. That's next up, as they all work their way through. A few drivers wide, but nothing too concerning. Stuart Kirk doing well from second on the grid to keep his foot in it and really hold position round the outside there, and it's paid back that he has the inside line for hairpin 2, and he's able to challenge for the lead there, but I don't think he's going to quite have the drive off the corner, and indeed he is going to be overtaken by a couple of drivers and drop back to 4th place. But it was a good start there from Stuart Kirk, one of the best I've seen from second on the grid so far. Matthew Batter, though, it is your pole sitter who still has the lead. He's now being pursued by Joe Bailey there in the number 42, and the 24 of Callan Sigafus, who goes up the inside at Garda but can't make it stick. A good few attempts at positions there on the first lap. Some of them going 3 abreast indeed up the hill towards Cafe Corner. But and here's the move for the leads. Matthew Batter with Joe Bailey going up the inside of turn number 1 into hairpin 1 now for the second time this race. And it is the 42 of Joe Bailey who's got up into the lead here. Down the hill they come then. Joe Bailey, excuse me, ahead of Callan Sigafus. Matthew Batter now down into 3rd place, with Tim Hill pursuing him. Heading up the hill now. Change of lead will be confirmed at the end of this lap. No Class 1 runners in this field, interestingly enough. Side by side here goes Tim Hill and Matthew Batter. This is over 3rd place, and Tim Hill will open the door there at turn 1 and bring that one home to complete that pass up into 3rd place.
It's always a good opportunity for the C2s when there's no C1, because the pressure's taken off.
Yeah.
It's a good practice for taking that step up of trying to get a race win without that fear of There's a C1 right up behind me. Am I going to be able to deal with this pressure?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just take the pressure off slightly, as there's been a change there again. Callan Sigafus past the 42 of Joe Bailey, so another change of lead. 2 changes of lead in as many laps there. Callan Sigafus, and there's a penalty there being issued for... so we've had a couple of penalties come in, excuse me. So Richard Newton has had track limits taking an advantage, and Tim Hill has been given an ABC bump and pass penalty. So there'll be 4 places added to wherever he finishes. Not sure. I'm sure I saw Joe Bailey gesturing at the board there, but I haven't seen anything come up for him. Jacob Harris with the fastest lap of the race. Lovely to see there from everyone's favourite grid interviewer.
Oh, you've not caught up? No, he's not doing it this year.
That doesn't mean he's not my favourite.
Oh, fair enough. Unlucky, Piers.
Well, Jacob has a certain style about him, I'm just saying. Piers does a good job, don't get me wrong. Callan Sigafus then leads new fastest lap of the race, 47.6. This is Stuart Kirk challenging Matthew Batter over 4th place. Batter feeling the need to go a little bit defensive there through hairpin 2, just to deter a move. Maybe everyone's favourite was Strong. Maybe we should start a poll. Who's your favourite grid interviewer?
Who's your favourite grid interviewer? I mean, we could, but it's an obvious.
Conclusion, eh?
3 minutes of this race to go. Callan Sigafus doing a really good job here, leading this race.
And at pace as well.
Yeah. Has pulled out nearly 3/10 over Joe Bailey on that lap alone, so the gap is now more than 4/10. Tim Hill, 3rd place. Tim's on for a good run here into, I'd imagine, the A final, because it's not the first time we've talked about him being up towards the front of the order here today.
Stuart Kirk as close as he's ever been to Matthew Batter here. Can I set some homework, mate? Is Sigafus wins?
I think Sigafus has had wins before.
I want to say he has as well.
But yeah, I'll go back to you on that one.
Yeah.
When the last time was.
Two minutes left on the clock then, just over. Callan Sigafus leads this one by 0.3 of a second. We've been saying his pace is good. It's worth saying Joe Bailey's been keeping him honest. When we've been seeing Callan set these new fastest laps, Joe Bailey's been just off of them as well, so really good there.
Round 4 last year.
Oh, fair enough. Cool.
I think that may have been on stream as well.
Yes. Stuart Kirk has finally tucked underneath on Matthew Batter there, but still can't make it work. Will he ever move into Simon Sweep? He has a look, shows his nose, but thinks better of it. And Lee Henderson has caught up to the back. And if you were wondering why Stuart Kirk was so keen to get by Matthew Batter, bit of a super heavyweight battle here as Lee Henderson gets onto the tail of the number 12 car. And Nicholas Walker's on the scene as well.
Could be big this for Henderson if he can get through, even if it's just one of them. He's already had a race win so far today after the full course yellow affected heat early on, which he controlled fantastically.
Yep.
If he could nip through here past Stuart Kirk and Matthew Batter, a 1st and a 4th, that's got you on your way to getting into the A final and getting into the A final well.
Yep, absolutely. Tim Hill's the driver we're not seeing too much of at the moment, because we're looking at the battle over 4th. We've mentioned Sigafus and Joe Bailey. There's Tim. He is in the race. He's just in a bit of clean air at the moment as Lee Henderson goes up the inside. And that was beautifully done there by the driver of the number 13 kart this season.
And closed out nicely on corner exit, just holding a little bit wide, making sure that there wasn't going to be an opportunity for Stuart Kirk to fight back. And Kirk is now having to contend with the likes of Nicholas Walker behind and Pepe Lucchese, who has the fastest lap of the race so far. John Elmer High trying to join in the fun. Also Elliot Olds. Lots that could potentially change here in the latter stages of this race. Callan Sigafus, though, and Joe Bailey are going to get a good amount of points here on the board. Have taken advantage of the way the draw has occurred here today. No C1s. You can only beat what's out there on track with you, and Callan Sigafus has done just that and taken a well-deserved race victory. He takes the win, Joe Bailey second, Tim Hill, more good points for Sir Timothy there in third. And here they all come. Oh, Lee Henderson nearly got fourth place there, but has got to settle for fifth in the end, just behind Matthew Batter. Sixth for Stuart Kirk, seventh for Nicholas Walker, eighth for Pepe Lucchese, John Elmahai ninth, and Elliot Alt in 10th.
Absolutely. Coming up next is the penultimate heat of the day in heat number 11. Mikey Nichols will start this one from pole position with Tom Angier alongside him. Kai Crawford and Tim Williams are the second row of the grid for this one. Adrian Ray and Alexander Lemon are row number 3. Next up, it'll be Richard Neal and Matthew Griffiths ahead of Simon Kavanagh and Paul Williams to round out the top 10. Tim Penny and Lenny Wood are next up on the grid, and then row 7 will be Chris Alcock and Heinrich Watson-Miller. Matthew Carlin Britton and Tom Jobson will be row 8, and Antonio Gitsonio and Marcus Gilby will be row number 9. That's how they line up for the penultimate heat of the day.
Sun's nearly gone down here at Buckmore Park.
Well, after you got your hat as well.
Yeah.
We're under starters orders. Mikey Nichols in the number 5. Tom Angier alongside in the 26. Away we go then for heat number 11. And once again, it's a very strong start from the pole side of the grid. And that's seen Kai Crawford immediately up into second place. And Adrian Ray immediately up into third. So the pole side of the first 3 rows is have been major beneficiaries off of that start. They all go through hairpin 2 for the first time. So it is Mikey Nichols, Kai Crawford and Adrian Ray, your top 3 down the hill through Syme Sweep. As they all work themselves out on the first lap. He sees the return of some Class 1 runners, one of whom is Mikey Nichols.
Who needs a good result
He
in this
does,
one.
yes, he could
not
do
a good
with it.
result for the bollards and the exit of paddock. They got rearranged quite heavily there.
Yep.
For balance, we're getting some support for Piers Pryor in on the chat from Ludicrous Bacon.
I feel like I meant no slight upon on Piers whatsoever. He does a cracking job. I'm just saying.
Good
Jacob is the
interviewer, but he needs to work on his standing up skills, because he's fallen over at least 3 times during grid interviews so far this year. He's much better when he's sat down in them.
There's some pleasure that I derive from seeing a bunch of students who have turned up to do a day of karting, getting someone come and put a microphone in their face and ask them for their opinions on African geopolitics. There's just something about it. That was at this round a few years ago. It was at Buckmore Park. Anyway, I digress. Tim Williams is going up the inside of the 41 of Adrian Ray. That is a move for 3rd place for Tim there. 96 up into 3rd place. Costly lap last time around for Simon Kavanagh. Don't know what happened to him. He dropped down a number of positions to 14th place, having started the lap 9th. So something, some drama befell his race. Still Mikey Nichols at the front. The 21 is Kai Crawford, with Tim Williams behind, who will be confirmed as the 3rd place runner as they cross the line on your timing towers this time around. And he's now going to have a look. Is Tim Williams up the inside of Kai Crawford, exactly where he pulled a move a lap ago. And Tim Williams gets the job done and up into 2nd place.
He's taken his opportunities really well today. Tim Williams has been a factor in every single race so far. Well positioned at the halfway stage of this one, or the near halfway stage of this one. Can he find a way past Mike and Nichols now? I'm a bit curious as to what's happening with Chris Alcock at the moment.
I was wondering
down
that.
in 11th place.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be having the nicest time of it. You just saw him coming into shot there. He's on the tail of Paul Williams.
Sun's gone down, hat's come off now.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It's a shame. So Tim Williams confirmed in 2nd place across the line. He's going to try it again. 3rd lap running. He's going to fire a move up into down into turn 1 and gets the move done on Mikey Nichols. That's been brilliant. A brilliant few laps there for Tim Williams. Sees him get to the head of the field as Tim Penny sets a new fastest lap. Down through Sime Sweet then comes new race leader.
Big difference now, though, being in the lead of this race. You know, we've talked about it so far today, about there is a bit of a slipstream effect around this circuit. It's one of those circuits where it's quite nice to follow someone and get into them and apply pressure, because it is easy to make a mistake round here. So what can Mikey Nichols do in response? There it is, 3 minutes to go, confirmed on your timing screens. On the top left-hand corner, Tim Penny's going along quite nicely as well in 5th place.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? When you're driving with another person immediately in front of you, you're always. It's a weird one. You never want to be driving purely off of what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's the old Brundleism: look but never stare. But you don't. You're always calibrating relative to that reference point in front of you. It's like, I was a bit quicker than them there. I was a bit slower than them there. And all of that good stuff.
Two and a quarter minutes to go. Tim Williams looking in control. There is a penalty that's come in for Paul
Williams. Okay, that's bump and pass. So that's going to be 4 positions. And I'm a little worried for Paul as to where he's going to line up on these grids.
Yeah.
Matt Griffiths dropped a number of positions on that up. I wonder if that is related. So I wonder if Paul Williams has put a move on Matt Griffiths and it's bumped him wide. But yeah, we'll see how the grids come out for the B's and C finals. And I'm afraid it is, I think, going to be B's and C's finals for Paul Williams. It's going to be one of those two.
But he does have that experience of racing through. He loves a B final. He's won many of them.
He has. It's a good point. As Tim Williams now showing a good turn of pace here. He's now got quite a bit of breathing room over Mikey Nichols. 0.6 of a second the gap.
We did discuss last night, didn't we, mate, that maybe there should be an award this year that some drivers could aim for, like the DDMM hashtag Northernomics Award for the most number of extra races gained through repecharging from C's and B's.
Yes.
Free race.
Absolutely.
Always good.
Sorry, I just know Adrian Ray there having to defend hard against Richard Neal there. That stays as they were for 5th place. There was Paul Williams battling away as he is with Heinrich Watson Miller. And Chris Alcock, mate, has not been able to move on up the order this time, as there's a move there. No, that's still Adrian Ray defending against Richard Neal there. There's no move yet. I don't know if Chris just doesn't quite feel comfortable with this kart. I'm not sure. This is a very un-Chris Alcock drive for me. Hope you won't mind me saying. But he's just not been able to make any capital, make any moves up the field.
That's a cracking bit of pace from Tim Penny. 46.294. That's quicker than a lot of our lightweights from earlier on in the day.
He's just taken a second out of. Where is he in relation to Kai Crawford?
He's
hang on. Has he got by? I think he's got by. I think Tim Penny's up into 3rd place. And checkered flag is out, so Tim Williams will come through here and take an impressive victory for this one. That was a brilliant drive by Tim Williams. Decisive moves at exactly the right time and controlled it from then on. Mikey Nichols in 2nd. Tim Penny with the move on the last lap. Knew he had to push and made it stick against Kai Crawford. Adrian Ray in 5th, ahead of Richard Neal, Tom Angier, Alexander Lamb, Paul Williams, and Heinrich Watson Miller, who I believe is your highest placed novice driver. Chris Alcock in 11th, and it was Matthew Griffiths, Lenny Wood, Tom Jobson, Antonio Gitsonio, Marcus Gilby, Matthew Carlin Britton and Simon Kavanagh with some issue at some point that saw him drop down the order. That's how they finish heat number 11, the last heat of our round 1 for the heavyweights, and indeed our last heat ahead of the finals of the weekend is next. Here's your grid then for the last heat of the day. Vijay Patel and Olavo Castro will be your front row. Andrew Hicks and Steve Lindley are row 2, ahead of Edward Gordon and Kyle Walker. Row number 4 is Ethan O'Donnell, ahead of Glenn Orford. Ethan Fitton and Joe Wright are next, ahead of Samuel Bensley and Steve Bosley on row 6. Row 7 will be Mike Bodner and Luigi Amitrano. Jonathan Wilson and Nick Nucci are row 8, ahead of Jason Kirkham and Marcus Naris. So this is the last of the 7-minute heats. After this, the grids will have been decided for the finals. If drivers haven't had quite such a good time in the heats as they would have hoped for, there is an opportunity for redemption, but we will get to that in due course. First off, we've got to have a heat, and that was a very uncertain looking under starters orders period there, but we are underway. Vijay Patel leads them away in the number 40 kart. Into turn 1 they go. One of the more even starts we've seen between the pole and anti-pole sides of the grid for my money there, but it is still Vijay Patel who will lead them through, as it was that Ethan O'Donnell there who was involved in a bit of contact. Someone spun round there.
I think someone hit Ethan O'Donnell, who then went into Steve Lindley, who then went into whoever the poor driver was who got spun round and is stranded at hairpin number 1.
I think they're underway again now, but there was a little bit of a little bit of pinging off of each other there. Yes, bit of a ruckus, let's say, through hairpin 1, but it is still Vijay Patel who will lead them up the hill.
Edward Gordon's had a good start here.
Yep.
He's, I think, up into the top 3, maybe even more. Yes, he's up into 2nd place, and he's now having a look down the inside of Vijay Patel through the first couple of corners. He's going to have to let him back through, though. And here comes Carl Walker in the white suit with the sky blue details.
We've already seen put in some really impressive pace today, and is used to keeping leaders under pressure, actually. Saw it do that a few heats ago. Olavo Castro was your driver who dropped down, lost 12 positions on that first lap, I'm afraid to say. So he lost out heavily there in that hairpin 1 incident.
It's really not good considering he started on the front row of the grid. Not a good conversion of
and this could be the run.
Points.
Yeah, that's a great run for Edward Gordon up the hill, and he's got the job done into Cafe Corner. Nice move there from the driver of the 84. Gets the move done. Vijay Patel comes right back at him, though, into turn number 1. And Carl Walker, I think, would have capitalised, but was coming under pressure of his own from Andrew Hicks. Once again, it's Vijay Patel, though, through, but it's not going to stick, unfortunately, for him. Edward Gordon is through and up into the lead, and immediately Patel has to worry about the pressure from behind us. Steve Bosley is starting to get stuck in it, as is Steve Lindley, trying to move their way up through this quite dense pack of Class 2 runners, Andrew.
Andrew Hicks got forced out wide badly there, lost at least 3 positions, but Edward Gordon, key phase of the race this, to try and break away, and what's Steve Lindley up to there? He's just pointed through to Carl Walker. Steve Bosley is on the scene as well.
Yeah, so everyone down to Mike Bodner. The top 10 really closely packed here, albeit Edward Gordon has got a little bit of a jump at the front, a second's gap in hand over this pack. This pack, if they want to win the race, kind of need to work together a bit, but I don't think that's going to be happening as Edward Gordon sets a new fastest lap of the race. He's doing exactly what he needs to do at the head of this field now. He's got to the front, he is pushing. Steve Lindley through on Kyle Walker, who's going 3 abreast, and that's going to be so costly for Kyle Walker. He's lost about 4 positions there, whereas they all bolt each other up, and it's allowed Steve Lindley to pull out ahead of them now. And Steve Lindley can now fix his sights only on Vijay Patel.
He's got through.
And he's got through, unless Patel's got a counter-attack on the switchback through Senna, which I don't think he's going to have enough overspeed to convert it. No, he's not. So Steve Lindley has somewhat broken free on that lap as well. In fact, both he and Vijay Patel don't have to worry quite so much about the threat from behind, which at the moment is represented by Samuel Bensley in the 88, as Carl Walker and Andrew Hicks are still battling away there.
Glenn Orford was down the inside. Hicks ran wide through Henry's Bend.
Yep.
He's lost out there, and here comes Mike Bodner, the ever-experienced Mike Bodner. He's going to have... No, he's not going to have it on the exit there.
Yeah, poor driver for that second hairpin, wasn't it? But this is great for Edward Gordon. Loving this. As we pass the halfway stage in this final heat of the day, the question is, how much pace has Steve Lindley got in him? As Carl Walker goes at the inside of Samuel Bensley,
who also clipped a cone, so expect a cone warning at least for Bensley in due course.
Yep.
That's how I read it, at least. Another new fastest lap of the race from Edward Gordon. Glenn Orford, full of confidence now for that race win earlier, looking for a way through.
Steve Bosley got up to 4th in all of that as well. There's Edward Gordon with 2.5 seconds in hand over Steve Lindley. Vijay Patel in 3rd, and Steve Bosley has got himself up into 4th. Then comes Kyle Walker and Sam Bensley. Oh no, sorry, Bosley's got through. Bosley's got through on Patel. So Steve Bosley up into third place. You can see there the 8 now ahead of the 40. So change for third place there. And then Orford trying to get onto the back of Bensley as well within this pack. Great consistency of pace from Edward Gordon. It wasn't the fastest lap that time around, but it was within a few hundredths of it. Brilliant consistency, and Steve Lindley is not able to close the gap at the moment, has to be said. So Gordon controlling this one really nicely at the front. Pressure being applied to Glenn Orford from Andrew Hicks in the number 17. Through paddock corner they go. You can see the pressure that the 35 of Glenn Orford is under. But Hicks holds station for now, waiting for the better opportunities to come.
Edward Gordon's been another one of those who, whenever we've seen him so far today, he's been in and around. I know he had one race where I think he had a couple of penalties, but
yes,
he's been in and around the top 5. So
yeah.
He could very much well be on for a solid A final qualification here. Whoa, Walker down the inside. That was very, very ragged, but it worked.
Yep.
And it got him past Vijay Patel and up to 4th place.
Absolutely.
So nearly went wrong then. I thought Carl Walker was going round and it's going to be rear axle into the side of Vijay Patel, but he just about saved it.
Steve Bosley with good pace at the moment, but the best he can hope to get, I think, is to get by on Steve Lindley. They're too far off the back of Edward Gordon, and Edward Gordon will see the last lap board around about now. Indeed he does. So the battle for second might be on this lap. And then there's this battle that we're watching right now on your screen. There is the second place battle. I think Bosley's a little too far back, to be honest. And then you've got Kyle Walker, Vijay Patel. Good solid points though for these two Class 1 runners here, Lindley and Bosley.
Certainly see both of them through into the A final.
Yep, absolutely. Just ahead of them though, Edward Gordon's just rounding centre and will come up the hill through Cafe Corner and cross the line to take the win in heat number 12. What a drive from Edward Gordon. Steve Lindley's chuffed with that, holding on to second place ahead of Bosley. Carl Walker is next ahead of Vijay Patel, Glenn Orford in 6th, Andrew Hicks in 7th, Sam Bensley in 8th, Mike Bodner in 9th. I tell you what, if any of those drivers are not quite in the final they want, they're going to be
very close,
licking their wounds from that one because it was so close between them. Jason Kirkham in 10th is your highest placed novice driver. Ethan O'Donnell in 11th, Joe Wright in 12th, Jonathan Wilson in 13th, 14th was Luigi Amatrano, excuse me. Marcus Neris in 15th, Olavo Castro in 16th, difficult race for him, and then Nick Lucci round out your 17 finishers in that one. And that's the end of the heat racing. So there'll be a short break here whilst they work out the grids for the CBs and A final.
If you'd like.
And we'll take a short break here on the stream. Be back with you soon here at Buckmore Park.
going to be the bigger man. Oh, big off! Straight in the gravel trap, both cars out.
Is it going to work for Sean? He slides up the inside, he's getting very close, he's not made it.
Have you ever seen a championship decided like that?
Welcome to Alpha Live, the live streaming service where you can be part of the action from home. You can watch via your smart TV, phone, tablet, or even your gaming console. We've got you covered. Just head to the YouTube app on any of your devices and search for Alpha Live. Here you can watch all of the events as they unfold, or you could choose from our vast library for those lazy days in, all in beautiful HD. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so you don't miss.
Can he hold that gap? Isaac Lawden's got past Ben Page now. That's for 7th place. Go either into crucial Ardell's corner. Has Davis got the run? He's not going to be able to get the run surely down here into the Stuart Essence, but he may. Oh, he's got the run! He's gone for a big move. Switched back by Weaver. Read it beautifully. Saw it coming. Kept the steering open. Let Ben Davis come into the inside, and he still held on to the lead. That was brilliant racing by all three of them here, and I think that's going to be the crucial moment, because Joe Weaver, unlike 24 hours ago, is not going to need to do the overtake on the last lap. Joe Weaver takes the double in Senior Rotax Round 2 of Super 1 2022. Line on row 11, Jake Wilkins and Andrew Ravage on row 12, and then we'll have our two qualifiers from the B final, Bryn Albin and Dean.
3, 1, back to you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Buckmore Park. We're in the slight pause in proceedings just whilst the grids are calculated for the C, B and A finals for this afternoon's racing for round 1 of the 2023 Club 100 Sprints Championship. This is the heavyweights class, and we're building towards the last 3 races of the day and the opportunities for the big points, Howard Mitchell, for the drivers who've been racing here today.
Indeed, 150 points it is now on offer for the winner of our A final, and I believe the drivers have been instructed as well that they're no longer meant to have tinted visors on now that the sun has dipped below the tree line here at the circuit. I think we'll just we will get some floodlight usage, won't we? I think just as we get towards the final race. Let's talk about the structure of the next section of the day's running then. So we've had the 12 heats. All drivers have had opportunities to accrue as many points as possible, and now that those points have been accrued, they will be allocated accordingly to one of the finals, which will kick off with the C final. There'll be a B final and an A final, and if there's a tie on points, it'll be decided by who has set the fastest lap, which we see quite a few ties, funnily enough, because there's several ways to achieve the same score over the 3 heats that each driver will have contested. Sorry, I'm pacing around the box and causing havoc with the cable management here. So, the ultimate winner of the round will be the winner of the A final. Let's say that your heats haven't gone as well as you'd have hoped. There is an opportunity for redemption by way of the repechage system, or promotion system, as one might call it. And in the C final, it's the top 4 positions that are critical. The top 4 finishes of that race will be put onto the back of the B final, which, as Andrew alluded to earlier, also means they get a bit more karting for their money, we must mention as well. So it's just you know, it's just cost efficient, really, to finish that top 4. And if you finish in the top 2 of that B final, you'll be promoted onto the back of the A final. So that's going to be the key thing, and that means that the tactics are a little bit different. We're into longer races now. They're 12 minutes, not 7, for the next 3 races that will bring us to the close of today's running. And as we say, tactics. If you're running in 5th place and you're in a battle with whoever's in 6th in that C final, work together, unless it is genuinely there is no hope left of getting up into 4th place. You've got to work together, not lose time, and as we've said before, there's all sorts of permutations It's difficult to track who's got what penalties. It's difficult to, you haven't memorised everyone's kart number. Certainly at this stage of the season. To be honest with you, at no stage in the season had I ever memorised the kart number of all of my competitors. So it can be quite complicated, but we kind of like it. I think Andrew and I, we really like this bit because it gets tactical and frenetic. If you don't get into those promotion spots, then it's about scoring as many points as you can for the round. And we should be clear here that 150 points are on offer for who wins that A final. It cascades down all the way through all 3 races, is a key thing to bear in mind.
Unless you get disqualified.
Unless you get disqualified, then you score nothing. What else is there to say on this one? Obviously we'll be determining who's winning the round in each of our subclasses as well. So it's not just about who wins it outright. Who's going to be our Class 3 winner for round 1? Who's going to be our Class 2 winner? Who's going to be our Super Heavyweights winner? And we'll also keep track of the various podiums in those classes as well.
Hello to Sam Dimolo, who I spoke to earlier on today in the paddock walk. He says, "Are you warm in there?" It's like, "Yes, mate. Yes, we are."
I feel really guilty because the camera. In our defence, it was quite chilly in here this morning because we've had there's a cable gap in the door, which we're feeding all of the cables needed to make the stream a reality here through the door, and it was quite chilly earlier. But for some reason, it's the heating's.
I found the heating.
Well, I say for some reason, Adam turned the heating on. But so it has got warmer in here, and I did feel a little bit guilty when the camera crew just popped in because they are soldiering through these quite chilly conditions to give you all of the pictures. So shout out to them. In fact, shall I do unusually? Shall I do the credits?
Yeah.
When we're several hours out from the end. So yeah, shout out to the camera operators today, which is Joe Sassoon, Jack Mitchell, Jake Grubb, and Luke Woodford as well, who's been the general runner. He's been doing camera work. He's been doing some directing as well, alongside
Luke
Adam
2.0,
Chapman.
as we're calling him.
Yeah.
For Alpha Live.
Alpha's Luke
They've
2.0.
they've traded Luke 1.0 in and upgraded to a younger, more capable model.
I'm not an expert. I'd say Adam Chapman just gave us a look of, you weren't supposed to say that on air. I don't know.
Well, we have now.
And Adam Chapman, who's been producer for today's production as well, and has been calling all the shots. And
I've got grids if you would.
Here on the credits, I've got some guy called Andrew and Howard.
They're
Don't
rubbish.
really know what they did.
Shall we get on with the C final?
Let's get on with the C final. Let's have a look at the grid then for the C final. Actually, no. Let's look ahead now to the C final on the stream. Let's have a look at your grid now for the C final. Matthew Griffiths will start this one on pole, Rupert Rickson alongside him. Kieran Chigsey and Vijay Patel, row 2. Ethan O'Donnell and Mo Hassad on row 3. Row 4 will be Nicholas Steeper and Tom Jobson. David Harvey and Christian Hoos are row number 5. Marcus Narris and Vinod Harani are row 6. On row 7, we're going to find Christopher Potts and Lenny Wood. Then it's Marcus Gilby and Richard Melton on row 8. Jamie Buchan and Luigi Amitrano on row 9. Simon Dean, Damien Smith, Matthew Cullen Britton, Charlie James, Oliver Castro and Nick Lucci round out your 24. No, they don't, because it's Luke Russell and Ethan Fitton on row 13, and we're away. Into turn number 1 they go. Top 4 will go through into the B final, remember. And as they go into hairpin number 1, you can see it's visually a lot darker out there on the circuit. The shadows have fallen on the track as they stream through hairpin 2 for the first time.
Good start from Ethan O'Donnell in the purple and white suit there, local to this circuit, but first time in Club 100. It'll be good to try and get through to the B final here. He's in the 4th position there. As long as you finish in the top 4, doesn't matter what the order is, as long as you're in the top 4, you'll be there on the grid for the B
Oh, and they've
final.
held each other up. Oh, that's gutting for them both. And that, I almost want to see a replay of that. That was how not to do it, I'm afraid, for Chigsey and for Marcus Gilby, I think it was. Let's watch this. This is how you don't start your C final.
Oh, yeah, the back end of the cart just steps out there.
Yeah, not a lot that Chigsy could have done there, to be fair to him. He was just on the outside of that one, but that's how costly will that moment prove for them? Matt Griffiths, though, has been able to hold on to this one at the front off of pole, so that's exactly what he needed to do.
And the blue line returns. So as long as your name is above that blue line and you don't have large penalties, you can get away with it with a small penalty if you finish third, second or first. He's away through into the B final. And the leader hasn't galloped away here, Howard, so this is one that's going to be a bit different to what we saw this as down the inside goes Hassan for the lead of the race on Griffiths. This one's going to stay tighter. If you weren't with us with the lightweights early, the top two worked together, disappeared off the front, booked themselves in pretty easily. This has the opportunity to be far more wide open, which is good if you're further down the order.
Yeah, absolutely. Ethan O'Donnell briefly in second place there, but they're all battling away, went 3 abreast there, and that's all gone the way of Marcus Gilby now. And in about 3 corners, Matt Griffiths went from controlling the race at the front to down on the bubble now. He's in 4th place, so it's now it's Mo Hassan at the front there in the 53, and Marcus Gilby in 2nd place, Ethan O'Donnell in 3rd, and Matthew Griffiths, former race leader, down in 4th place.
Yeah, Ethan O'Donnell's done really well to just hold himself in there. There's a lot changing around him, but 9.5 minutes to go. Hassan, Gilby, O'Donnell and Griffiths. That would be your top 4. Christian Hoos down the inside of Kieran Chigsy into 5th place. Defending.
Going to keep it tight there. And I think he'll just be able to stop Chigsy from a counter-attack into hairpin 2. That's nice positioning there from Christian Hoos.
I wonder, backing himself now. Some may ask, why is he defending 5th place this early in the race? But I think that's a track position thing of solidify 5th place to then go on the attack. Unless Kieran Chigsy goes and does that down the inside, gets the place back now.
That was too costly for me.
Yeah.
And Hoos is going to go up the inside anyway on Garda. And I understand Chigsy wanted to strike whilst the iron was hot there with a counter-attack, but it was a little bit too leery there, and he's actually lost out ultimately to David Harvey, who's come into the picture there in the 80.
Tom Jobson on the move as well. So change of strap now for Hoos and Harvey. They've got to work together. There's a 1.2 second gap there that is doing them no favours up to Griffiths ahead. They've got to work together to see if they can pull the number 28 back towards them. The thing being the 28 is isolated at the moment because there's a 1.1 second gap up to the 92 of Ethan O'Donnell ahead. Let's see what Hoos and Harvey can do here.
Meanwhile, Tom Jobson got by on Rupert Rickson for 8th place earlier this lap. So changes further down in the top 10 as well. So Mo Hassan leads by just under a second from Marcus Gilby. Then it's Ethan O'Donnell. And then a further 1.6 back to Matthew Griffiths, who is the driver most at risk because Christian Hoos is starting to close in on him. And then there's the battle you've got on screen now. Kieran Chigsy, David Harvey and Tom Jobson down to 8th place. There's O'Donnell, and then there is Matt Griffiths.
Full credit to the top 3. They've really got on with this. What I thought was going to be one of those C finals that stays quite close has turned out to not be that case at all. The top 3 should be comfortable now. Should be able to manage this and just be clean. Don't pick up any silly cone penalties or track limit penalties of that description. It's all on Griffiths now to see if they can hold out here in 4th place under a lot of pressure now from Hoos and Chigsy, who've worked well the last couple of laps.
They have, that's true. And Chigsy down the inside of Hoos there, and that's Hoos thought he was going to. He was thinking about making the move on Griffiths more than worrying about defending, and well he might. Managed to get better drive off the corner though, so he retains the position. But well, Kieran Chigsy has already shown himself to be quite bold on the move so far this race. So you can't count him out. Still not at that halfway stage, remember, because we've got the 12 minutes for each of these finals.
Big chance now. And across moves Griffiths there to close the door.
Fastest lap of the race for Mo Hassan, doing exactly what he needs to do at the head of the field to solidify this one.
Now we have seen a few times here today that when someone defends, encourages the drivers behind to catch up, encloses the pack. It can actually be a very good defensive mechanism because it disrupts what's going on immediately behind you.
Indeed.
You can dart off the front.
Kind of just happened there with Kieran having a little look at Christian Hughes. And it just gave a bit of breathing space to Matthew Griffiths for the next few corners. And there again, Kieran Chigsey up the inside. And that was a good clean move there from Kieran. I liked that one. And Chigsey is up into 5th place. I wonder if he's feeling a little bit, you know, he was running in 2nd on that one.
Yeah.
After the move put on him into Garda, really held him up.
They still need to stay organised though, because Matthew Griffiths, crucially, is holding on to that 4th place. And every single corner, every single lap he does, he gets a little bit closer to that final, B final. We're all trying to get through to by racing here in the C.
And I think he's positioning his kart well at the moment.
He
It's
is.
just half a cart width more shallow.
Oh,
so the door's open here. Chigsey will be through. Matt Griffiths will try and switch back, but Hoos is going to be there in the way, and they're going to hold each other up and allow Kieran Chigsey to get away with it.
Right, big lap now for Kieran Chigsey. He's got to go. He's got to get forward and try and put that gap of, 4/10 of a second at the moment, up to around a second. Almost dampen the spirits of those drivers behind. Get it into their heads that they may not be able to catch and re-overtake Kieran Chigsey. Big, big phase of the race, this. Just looking through, in terms of super heavyweights, it's happening. So we've got 2 super heavyweights going through at the moment and 2 novices. Damian Smith having some struggles out there today. He's in 10th place. And unfortunately, he's not got the pace it would seem at the moment to get up into that top 4.
Yeah. There is the opportunity, of course, of a super heavyweight podium for Kieran Chigsey if he can get up into that B final, because I can double check the grids, but I want to say Bill Taylor's, I think we've got a few super heavyweights already up in that B final.
Kieran Chigsey working hard here. It's got the gap up to 0.5 of a second, or thereabouts. It's going in the right direction. More time is whittled away. Can any of these drivers make a difference? There's David Harvey, the black suit and the Dayglow yellow details. Kart number 80. Lenny Wood, I don't think we've mentioned, is pulled out of this race, unfortunately. So Lenny Wood down in 24th place, 6 laps off the overall lead. Will not be going any further. Not a good day for Lenny Wood to start the 2023 season, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but hopefully we'll see him back in action at Shennington.
2 minutes 40 to go. Hassan, Gilby, O'Donnell, Chigsey. 4 of those drivers are all in control of their destinies at the moment. Going forward. Oh, until that moment there. And that's Griffiths.
Yeah.
Griffiths goes round.
Oh, that's going to be gutting. Now the question is, sorry Andrew, I didn't see the start of that. Was he helped into it?
I think that was a mistake. I think that was just a mistake coming down into paddock. Too much speed. Do need to brake a little bit. Let's have another little look at that. So Kieran Chigsey, who's about 0.7. There is the number 28.
Oh, there's no one anywhere near him. Yeah.
That's a really strange
That's
one.
really odd. I mean, I guess just locked up the brakes of it and it went round, but that is so unusual.
The mistake made, and sadly for Matthew Griffiths, who was in such a strong position in the earlier phase of this race.
He's led the race.
That's a lot of work now.
Yeah.
Nearly 9 seconds off where he needs to be.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Should just say, by the way, just check the grids. In super heavyweights, the gauntlet's been thrown down. Lee Henderson is the only super heavyweight in that A final.
Very good.
So
if you're Lee Henderson.
If you're Lee Henderson. So there's already 3 super heavyweights in the B final.
Yep.
So for Ethan O'Donnell and Kieran Chigsey in that top 4 at the moment, they do open up an opportunity to get a podium.
Yes. 60 seconds on the clock. Mo Hassan still looking in good control of this one.
Yeah. Yeah, really good drive so far.
Very mature drive, 47.5 last time around. Pretty similar pace for Marcus Gilby. I say that, Mo Hassan's just done a 47.056, fastest lap of the race for him so far. Down the inside, fight back. This is a bit of good spirit seeing here from Matthew Griffiths.
Agreed.
Trying to gain positions and points. Damien Smith fighting as well to try and get back past Rupert Rickson. And they have done indeed.
Yeah, as you say, good spirit being shown there. So easy after you made a mistake for it to just... You've spoken already a bit today, mate, about tightening up in your driving, tensing up, letting it get to you. And good to see Matthew picking himself back up, dusting himself off and getting stuck in to maximise his points here.
Last lap board is going to be out now because the leader came across the line with around 9 seconds to go. More fights going on behind. So Damien Smith trying to defend from Simon Dean, Marcus Neris and Nicholas Steeper. Mo Hassan will be moving through to the B final, you would think.
It's all calmed down a little bit, hasn't it, amongst the top 4? The main fight in the top 10 now is the battle over 5th place. Frankly, whether David Harvey can keep it ahead of Christian Hoos. This man, though, I've not seen too much of him, but he has done everything he needs to do. He's controlled this one brilliantly. Well, he might give a wave in celebration. Mo Hassan takes the win in the C final, punches the air, books himself a place in that B final, as does Marcus Gilby, Ethan O'Donnell, and Kieran Chigsey. And I tell you what, Kieran didn't think that at Garda on lap 1. He thought that that had gone away from him, but he fought back. Fair play to him. David Harvey in 5th, Christian Hoos in 6th, Tom Jobson in 7th, Matt Griffiths, well, I'm sure be disappointed, but he showed good spirit there in 8th place. Simon Dean in 9th, ahead of Rupert Rickson, Nicholas Steeper, Damien Smith, Marcus Naris, Charlie James, Vinod Harani, Matthew Carlin Britton, Luigi Amitrano, Jamie Buchan, Vijay Patel, Christopher Ports, Richard Melton, Alava Castro, Nick Lucci, and as you say, mate, Lenny Wood unfortunately pulling out of this one. That is how they completed their C final. Their racing is done for the day, apart from those who finished in the top 4. And coming up next here will be the B final at Buckmore Park. Let's look at your grid then for the B final. Joe Bailey will be on pole for this one with Richard Neal alongside. Lawrence Cheer and Paul Williams are row number 2 with Richard Newton and Jason Kirkham on row 3. Stuart Kirk and Pepe Lucchesi are row 4 with Mike Bodner and Jacob Harris on row 5. Jonathan Wilson and Jonald Muhai round out your 6th row. And Scott Parker and Tom Angier are row 7. Adrian Ray and Matthew Battery next on row 8. Row 9 will be Antonio Gitsonio and Simon Kavanagh. Row 10 will be Dan Giles and Bill Taylor. Luke Elliott and Joe Wright will be your 11th row. And I am stalling slightly because I am hoping to get a confirmed result for the C final, which hasn't come through yet, but we believe it'll be Mo Hassan, Marcus Gilby, Ethan O'Donnell and Kieran Chigsey. That's provisional for the last 4 there. And the top 2 from this race will go through. I feel like I just heard in the background there different card numbers to the ones I just called being promoted, so we'll double check that in a second.
Whilst we're doing that, chat, listen to me. We're currently 10 likes behind WMKC Kart Club. I know there's some of you out there who haven't pressed the like button. Please press it now. We cannot. Me and Adam Chapman sat here. You can see him there on the comms box camera. He's moving his head around. We cannot let Anthony Jordan win. We cannot. Please. I'm begging you now, press the like button. Let's get us up to 150, guys.
Do this in the style of a charity. Please today.
Please today.
Give whatever you can
can
to beat Anthony Jordan.
Yes. We can't let him win again.
There's a weigh-in taking place for that C final. This is
he wins at Alpha Live simply race Christmas parties.
He does. He does.
Shouldn't be allowed.
No.
He wins at.
Actually,
he won some just general corporate karting amongst the Alpha Live team.
I will say, actually.
On earlier this week or last week.
He did.
We can't have that. We can't have him having more likes at WMKC than there are here.
I will say,
Come on.
I have never seen.
Thank you very much. It's just shot up to 155. Keep it going. Keep it going.
I will say, by the way, I have not seen so many people gang up on one person in a sim racing thing as Anthony Jordan got ganged up on at the Christmas.
And he still
won. And he still won.
That's just rude.
I thought it was quite impressive. But yes. Right. Engines are on then for the B final. Let's see if I can get you that confirmed C final result I was telling you about. I'm going to click on that tab so that makes sense. No, Kieran Chigsey had a penalty. And it was for multiple contact. Apologies, we missed that one. And that means that David, I thought I heard the 80. I thought I heard on the tannoy, we need to weigh the 80. And it was. David Harvey has made it. David Harvey has made it into the B final. So it's Mo Hassan, Marcus Gilby, Ethan O'Donnell, and David Harvey, your confirmed top 4 finishers from that C final. And thus, your 12th and 13th rows of this 13-row grid, 26 karts. So there we go. That's how they'll line up at the back of this one. And the top 2 will book their spot on that A final grid. Now remember, there's only one super heavyweight in the form of Lee Henderson in the A final. And I believe I'm right in saying, oh, there's one Class 3 as well. Heinrich Watson-Miller, fantastic effort, has got himself into that A final. So that's something to bear in mind for our subclasses as we're good to go for our B final.
12 minutes on the clock. Who's going to get through to the A final? Good start for those on the pole side of the grid. A little bit of a tardy start there from Richard Neal, but good for Joe Bailey as they go through the first couple of corners and head towards hairpin number 1. Got to get through here. So important, and a couple of drivers have
several
not.
drivers off. Well, that was costly for some. And we've got, is that Jacob Harris round at hairpin? What's going on there? Drivers having to take to the inside curb in extreme to avoid something there. I think that was someone spinning and everyone went to the inside in avoidance and then
all met each other at the same point.
each other. God, what a bizarre start. It's Joe Bailey, I think, who's still at the head of this one. As that was Jonathan Wilson trying to put a move there through Garda. But some drivers, Andrew, their hopes have definitely just fallen at the first hurdle there. Joe Bailey is who leads. Lawrence Chea is next through. Richard Neal, really costly, 20 places lost. Jason Kirkham, 16 places lost. Paul Williams, 13 places lost. Matthew Batter and Yonel Muhai, both at the back. Those are some of the drivers who I'm afraid have had a real costly time of it on that first lap. Scott Parker as well.
Yeah, it's going to be hard work for them now, especially with this being a B final and only 2 spots being available to go through to the A final. Down the inside there looks the number 14 of Marcus Gilby. It's Marcus Gilby. That is an incredible bit of progress for Marcus Gilby. Up into the top 10 from the C final.
That's amazing.
Down the inside there, I think Mo Hassan is good. So yeah, actually I think a lot of the C final guys have kept themselves out of trouble in the early stage of this one, and have really reaped the rewards here.
That's incredible. That's really incredible.
10 minutes to go. Joe Bailey leads from Lawrence Chea. Richard Newton and Mike Bodmer. If the race was to finish right now, that would be... No, sorry. It's a B final, Andrew. It's only Bailey and Chea at the moment going through. There is Richard Newton defending from Mike Bodmer side by side. This is all good news for Lawrence Chea because look, getting away there is the driver in the number 29.
Yeah, they need to work together here. They're losing the opportunity. I know it's still early days in this race. I'm going to say it now. Marcus Gilby with the fastest lap of the race. If he he would join a very exclusive club if he got up into the A final off the back of getting promoted from the C.
But has a track limit advantage penalty.
Oh, gosh.
And as well does Joe Wright.
Okay. Nah, okay. I'm still calling this impressive,
Oh,
but yes. That does call that into question somewhat. Mo Hassan as well, though, up into that top 10.
That was a cone clip by Stuart Kirk, so expect a cone warning to come through soon for the number 12. Joe Bailey takes the new fastest lap of the race. It's all down to, down the inside goes Lucchese there. Lucchese up to 3rd place. Still got time to close into Lawrence Cheyer. 8.5 minutes is a long, long time in one of these sprint races. Lucchese with the speed, if the speed is there, can work with that. David Harvey, another one of our C final repechage winners. Just moving through nicely. 47.525. Here's a battle between the number 20 of Jonathan Wilson and Mo Hassan. Bill Taylor, who's had a weird day, just behind the reigning super heavyweight champion. He's currently in 10th place.
Yep, absolutely. Just got over my confusion that lap. Stuart Kirk has had to put a different lid on so that he's got a clear visor. That's what was throwing me. I knew there was something that didn't look right in the picture. So here is Mo Hassan trying to have a look at Jonathan Wilson. This is over 6th place.
So the pace I'm looking at the moment, Cheyer versus Lucchese. Lucchese has just gone purple through sector number 1, so that was another 10th. The gap is 1.6.
Yep.
This is doable. This is doable if you're Pepe Lucchese. Here's the number 53 of Mo Hassan, just ahead of Bill Taylor. And sky blue hoops on the white helmet there.
So let's be clear here what Jonathan Wilson and Mo Hassan are battling over, Andrew. They're effectively battling over the 2nd and 3rd steps on the podium for Class 3.
Yes.
Because Heinrich Watson-Miller is up into that A final as Mike Bodner looks down the inside of Richard Newton.
This is for 4th place.
Newton himself sitting in a net 2nd on the podium in super heavyweights currently.
Because Lee Henderson is already through to the A final, but he's the only super heavyweight to have done that down the inside. Here comes Bodner with the classic paddock move. Compliant there was Richard Newton. That's going to open the door for Jonathan Wilson to go down the inside. They're going to be 3 wide. They're going to be 4 wide as they come round the exit through centre. How have they all
and
still...
Bill Taylor!
No, not a blade of grass was touched there by Bill Taylor. What a brilliant piece of driving.
That was 3 positions in 2 corners by Bill Taylor.
Let's have a look at that again if we can.
That was brilliant stuff.
Got a little bit locked up between Wilson and Hassan, so look out for Bill Taylor at the back of this train. Down the inside goes Bodner. He forces the door to be open there. Great stuff.
Yeah, really, really good. Let's get, we're going to have a proper look at that. So there we go. Look at this for opportunism.
That's brave. That really is brave. I mean, he does get forced out wide there, but I think we'll give him that one.
I'd give him that one. I'd give him that one. Where else was he going to go, to be honest? He wanted to give enough room to the 3 people on his inside.
Now, this is the key battle for 2nd place. Last spot in the A final. Lawrence Cheyer in the number 29 in the yellow helmet. Pepe Lucchese in the multicoloured helmet. And Lucchese's down the inside and has got through hairpin 2.
Great move. Great move there. Has Cheyer got a response? Because that was textbook through hairpin 2 for Lucchese. Joe Bailey, 4.5 seconds up the road. He's, pending any disasters, he's gone. He's done. He's checked out. He's on course for a brilliant B final victory.
Cone penalty.
Jacob Harris.
Hang your head in shame and head back on the M. No, not the M4. Yeah, the M4. Back to Wales with you. Leave the cones alone.
Don't actually hang your head in shame. You won't be able to see where you're going.
Oh no, he's tall enough. Even if he hangs his head in shame, he will still be able to see over all of us.
Well, he hasn't got an articulated... Anyway. I did that once. I was shrimping. Crashed.
Oof.
Didn't look where I was going.
4 minutes to go.
Only shrimp, i.e. duck your head, when you know which way you're pointing. That's my top tip. Don't do it on a corner. So, Paul Williams there, 12th place. Also with a different lid when it's a clear visor event, I believe. Trying to make progress in that mid-pack. Such a competitive mid-pack. As there's yellows out there for, I think, some bollards, for some barrier work. A hairpin 2.
Got to give it to Bill Taylor here. He's not given this one up. His pace, 47.3 last time around. He's 1.3 seconds behind Lawrence Chayer. 3.5 minutes to go. I don't think this is done yet for second place.
Nope.
I'm not seeing the pace and the response from Chayer, but I am seeing it from Bill Taylor.
Yeah, agreed. Just looking at some of the battles further down. Stuart Kirk is leading a right train of karts in a battle over 10th place. So for those drivers for whom maybe the hope of promotion has fallen away, they're still competing very closely over some good points there.
Track limit warning for Bill Taylor. He's used up one of his 9 lives there. Mo Hassan's absolutely flying
really
along,
good pace.
46.875.
Yeah. Really, really impressive.
You just see him there in the back of shots behind Bill Taylor in the black and red suit. Chayer is responding. Maybe Chayer's just reserved something for the latter stages. Played this tactically. We've been racing for the whole afternoon round this circuit at full pelt. It does take it out of your body. Has Lawrence Chayer just thought, you know what, I just need to be there right at the last couple of minutes, and he is going to go for it down the inside and retakes second place.
Beautiful.
Really good response here from Lawrence Chayer, who a couple of minutes ago didn't look like the speed was there in the number 29, to do what he's just done there, overtake Pepe Lucchese and get back into that crucial second place.
Yeah, he's dug deep there, and that has paid off. Still a couple of minutes to go on the clock, though.
And Bill Taylor is still charging.
Bill Taylor's charging. Mo Hassan is charging. How about this? It could be a 4-kart battle on the last lap for the final promotion spot here, but Lawrence Chayer has got himself back. Crucially, he's got himself back into the position that he needs.
9/10 is what Taylor took out of Lucchese on that last lap. He's right there now.
Yeah.
Got to formulate 2 position moves here, has Bill Taylor.
Well, he's done 3 in one corner. That's
true.
No problem. Through the S's they go. Chayer in the high-vis helmet, and the green, blue, and red detailed helmet is Lucchese, who goes down the inside of paddock. They're both going to be held up. Bill Taylor's already shown great opportunism in this race and does so again up the inside, and look out for Mo Hassan as well following through. Chayer tries to scrabble it back, but he's lost out, and he's at the back of the pack of 4 at the start of the lap. He was at the head of.
Now, let's just check, does Mo Hassan have any penalties from earlier in the race?
I'll check.
Bill Taylor trying to fight back, gets a little bit crossed up. It's going to be open here for attack by Lucchese. Lucchese down the inside, takes 3rd place on the road. This has been a belter of a B final.
Hassan's clean.
Hassan is clean. So has Mo Hassan timed this run absolutely perfectly. Joe Bailey is going to be looking over his shoulder thinking, where is everybody else? They're here. They're coming down through Syme Sweep. Still with that 2nd spot in this B final. The 26th and final spot in the A final up for grabs. But Taylor down the inside of Chayer. Joe Bailey is going to win the B final. But Mo Hassan with a brilliant run. Last lap board is...
Just gone out.
Has just gone out. So Joe Bailey got across the line. The fun's going to continue, ladies and gentlemen. Mo Hassan, can he hold on now? It's just going to be a defence from Lucchese. They've broken away from the rest of the pack.
He won the C final. As I said at the very top of the race, he will join a very exclusive club if he gets this promotion. This has been absolutely incredible to win the C final and then come up through the B to a promotion spot. Lucchese can almost touched the opportunity here as they come down this battle. He's got to go for it. He's got to go for it, but he can't quite make it. Hassan closes the door, and that might be it, because Bill Taylor's going to be on Lucchese. Mo Hassan is going to do it. Joe Bailey takes a brilliant win. Well controlled there, but Mo Hassan, having won the C final, is going to bag the last spot on the A final grid.
Yes.
And well, you might punch the air, sir. What a drive from Mo Hassan, and gets today's award at least for the most cost-effective
Mo Hassan
driving.
is my Northernomics hero.
He has got
two free races.
Brilliant
What a
stuff.
boy.
Bill Taylor. Oh, and by the way, Mo's guaranteed himself a spot on the podium in Class 3 with that. Bill Taylor, third overall, is second for today's running in the super heavyweights. No more super. So well done, Lee Henderson. You've won. You've won the round for super heavies. There's no one else to challenge you. Pepe Lucchese, oh goodness me, fourth place, was in that fight throughout. Lawrence Chair as well was in that second place for so long. Mike Bogner in sixth. Jonathan Wilson in third. We can confirm, in third for Class 3 for this round. Seventh overall there. We can confirm is on that podium for Class 3. Richard Newton next. Then it was Marcus Gilby. What a drive he had as well, having got promoted from the C final. Paul Williams in 10th. Stuart Kirk in 11th. And it was Joe Wright, Jacob Harris, Richard Neal, Tom Angier, Antonio Gizzonio, Yonald Muhai, but I think it has a penalty to be applied. I saw come through. Adrian Ray in 18th. Then it was Ethan O'Donnell, Jason Kirkham to round out the top 20. 21st was Simon Kavanagh. David Harvey was 22nd. Then it was Dan Giles, Luke Elliott, Matthew Batter, and Scott Parker. Well, my goodness me. I mean, we've seen it before, but it's quite rare to see someone come through like that. And, yeah.
Give him the silver plate now.
Yeah. Well, they've got the way those two drivers to just double check. Please tell me, Mo, that you remember to transfer your lead if you have any.
No.
That would be awkward. But yeah, we'll be back with you shortly, though. Coming up next is the A final. Let's have a look at your A final grid then. It's Richard Allen who's bagged himself the pole position on the A final grid for this round. Alex Pritchard alongside. Kurt Holmes and Adam Wright are the second row of the grid. Tim Williams, what a day he's had. Brilliant drives, lines up with Joe Holmes alongside him on row 3. Callan Sigafus and Steve Lindley are next with Edward Gordon and Tim Penny to round out a very strong top 10. Glenn Orford and Steve Bosley are next on row 6. Row 7 is going to be Tim Hill and Chris Alcock. There they are with Lee Henderson confirmed. I'll double check. There are no other super heavyweights on this grid. So he has won the day for super heavyweights, can just enjoy himself now, bag as many points as he can. Carl Walker alongside him. Kai Crawford and Elliot Alt are row number 9. Nicholas Walker and Andrew Hicks round at your top 20. Heinrich Watson Miller confirmed as your Class 3 winner now by dint of being the only Class 3 runner on this grid, with Alexander Lamin alongside. Samuel Bensley and Mikey Nichols are row 12. And I will just I will refresh my B final to say that Joe Bailey and Mo Hassan
up 21 positions.
Up 21 positions in the case of Mo. It's a story of two different races. Joe Bailey, no change, pole to flag.
Easy.
Brilliant. Well controlled. Mo Hassan up 21 places, having won that C final. Amazing. They line up on the 13th and last row of this A final grid. The floodlights are on. Truly here at the circuit. We always have to remember that our comms box has slightly tinted windows, which makes it look a bit worse, but nonetheless, definitely in the twilight hours here at Buckmore Park, definitely the drivers need to have untinted visors.
EJAD predicts Hassan to win the A final.
Yeah, I don't.
Why not?
Why not? His pace is really good. Fair play to Mo Hassan. Trying to think, we've seen Joe Holmes do that. Trying to think who else we've seen do that. That was something special. That was something special. Right. As is not the case for the two races you've just seen, the drivers get a few warm-up laps, check that they're happy with the karts. Club 100 do a cracking job of keeping these karts even, but to quote the rules, I believe the wording is, Each Club 100 kart is different, and drivers should take the opportunity to familiarise themselves with the unique characteristics of the kart they have been given. Thus, for this A final, given what's on the line, i.e. an overall round victory, the drivers are given a few laps to check out the karts, make sure that they're happy, make sure they're bedded in, and change the karts if they see fit to do so. That is their prerogative, that is their privilege that they've earned by getting to the A final. They get to make that call.
Big
So
thanks
the
for your
drivers-
support today, everybody. So the next things for you to be aware of in terms of a Club 100 streaming capacity, March 15th, we will be heading to Wales and beautiful Glanigors near Mount Snowdon for the next day of BUKC mains action. In April, we have got, what haven't we got? We've got more Club 100 sprints, will be at Wilton Mill. We've got the culmination of BUKC, all 3 days of finals streamed here on Alpha Live. And away from the real racetrack, Wednesday night, if you hadn't heard already, round 1 of the Club 100 and BUKC iRacing Championship. It will be broadcast live over on the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel, so give it a search, DDMM.
I think that was a mechanical flag for Steve Lindley we just saw there, by the way.
Yeah.
So he's got to change card.
Oh, is that going to be a tinted visor one? I
Oh,
wonder.
it could be that. Well, no, that's a black flag, not a black and orange.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
But yes, if you weren't aware, if you're on iRacing and at any point in your life you've raced in Club 100 or the BUKC,
And you're not part of the Double Dash Motorsport Media streaming team.
Oh yes, you are eligible. I mean, we are still
We
eligible.
are technically eligible, but I
just
don't
don't
recommend
enter.
it.
Can you imagine if we tried to race at the same time? No, we did
No,
that at a BUKC
no.
24 hours a few years ago.
I
which
can
I've
imagine
never
it,
again.
and I don't want to imagine it again.
And but yes, if you are past or present Club 100 or BUKC driver and you're on iRacing, you are eligible to enter. Head over to our social medias to see all the details on there. And also, if you're a current BPEC, British Pro Kart Endurance Championship driver, you are eligible. And there are drop scores as well. So if you're not quite ready to get racing, don't worry. You have 3 drop rounds. We will keep entries open for the whole season. But if you want to do every single race and you want to start with our double header around Daytona International Speedway and Okayama on Wednesday night, do get signed up over the next couple of days. Before that though, we've got our last race today here at Buckmore Park. It is the heavyweight sprint A final. There on the left hand side of your screen is Richard Allen, the number 3. Won this A final in November at this very circuit to close out 2022. We nearly saw in lightweights the last round winner of 2022 win the first round in 2023.
Yep.
And Richard Allen closed that out, or is it going to be the likes of Alex Pritchard, Kurt Holmes, Adam Wright, Tim Williams, Joe Holmes? They're all there.
They are indeed. We know that Joe Holmes has said that he knows, even though he had great heats last season, he needed to really take the fight and be more successful in these finals. He starts 6th. How's this going to go? The reigning champion is not here. This is all about who can win round number 1. Richard Allen leads them away for 12 minutes of sprint racing here at Buckmore Park, and that's wide for Adam Wright. Through turns 1 and 2, he's going to lose out a bit of position there, and he's hung out to dry again at hairpin number 1 is Adam Wright. He's lost out even more there, but it is Dickie Allen who leads Kurt Holmes through hairpin 2. So Kurt Holmes has got the jump on Alex Pritchard through the first sequence.
Dickie Allen was Scandi flicking it through hairpin number 1 there to get himself in the right position. He has got himself in the right position at the front of this field, down through paddock for the first time into Garda. This is going to be a hotbed of activity over the next 11.5 minutes. There's Adam Wright trying to recover back through the field. Look out for Chris Alcock as well, who's started a little bit out of position in terms of where we'd expect him to be. We'd expect him to be in this front pack here. Allen, Holmes, Pritchard, Holmes, Williams. That is your top 5 at the moment. Callum Sigafus has had a good start as well. As down the inside for 3rd place goes Joe Holmes on Alex Pritchard. He's got the move done.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim Williams was looking for an opportunity there, but held station as Alex Pritchard kept it tight for hairpin number 2. So down the hill they come. Dickie Allen in the number 3, Kurt Holmes in the number 6, and then it's Joe Holmes in the number 2 in 3rd place.
Now this is going to be interesting. Last year, I think there may have been a bit of team orders here between the two Holmeses, but they're both in the same class now. They're both C1 drivers. They're both here to win.
Absolutely. There's nothing very tactical to be done, really, at this point. Alex Pritchard in 4th, Tim Williams in 5th, and then Callum Sigafus, highest placed Class 2 runners, in 6th place.
Down the inside goes Joe Holmes on Kurt Holmes, gets through. So that's 2nd place now for last year's championship runner-up. And it was in this order that Richard Allen and Joe Holmes finished the 2022 season at this particular circuit.
Yeah, that's true.
In a race that Joe Holmes needed to win to try and wrestle away the points lead from Anwar Barrell-Smith. That didn't happen. Can Joe Holmes put that right here in this first round of 2023? 9.5 minutes to go. 0.3 of a second is the gap. New fastest lap for Joe Holmes. It's already into the 46s, Howard.
Yeah. Chris Alcock up into 11th place, just got by on Steve Bosley. Those 2 Class 1 drivers who would dearly like to get a little bit further up towards the sharper end here. Adam Wright and Steve Lindley doing battle up at hairpin 2, and I saw Adam Wright letting Lindley back through. I think they're wanting to avoid a penalty, but it's causing them to fall off the back of this main pack.
Indeed, Alan checks over the shoulder, starts to defend. Now, of course, we saw a bit of... Oh, now there's a chance for Joe Holmes.
Yep.
Had a really good run and has got through. Oh,
both wide
there. Richard Allen's not going to like that. He's going to keep his foot in. Still on the inside through turn 1. Kurt Holmes may have a lane on the inside as well. Go for P2. He may go for the lead here. He is going to go for the lead, but he's overshot slightly through hairpin number 1.
And look out for Tim Williams as well. And there goes, look at that from Dickie Allen. So tight through hairpin 2. Who's going to get better drive? 2 wide, 3 wide. Tim Williams is through on both Holmeses in one corner.
And Joe Holmes is being swamped here.
He is. He's been taken down here by death by 1,000 cuts, effectively, through here. Alex Pritchard was nipping away at him, but he has been able to stem the flow as Joe Holmes. He's managed to hold station in 4th place there for a few corners, and now he can rebuild again. What a sequence of corners for Dickie Allen and for Tim Williams, who now found themselves 1st and 2nd. Richard Allen goes defensive. I'd forgive him for losing track of who's he's defending against, because it keeps changing. Now the Holmeses go through on Tim Williams again. Joe Holmes down the inside of Kurt Holmes and back up to 2nd place. But that exchange has given just a little bit of breathing space to Dickie Allen. And Alex Pritchard's down the inside of Tim Williams now through hairpin number 2.
We're not even into the second half of this race yet. A few months ago, I was left speechless by a Dickie Allen move. It's happened again. He just threw it down the inside into hairpin 2. Took a lot of curb. I think he is going to try and do the defensive tactic here. Gets it stopped, going through Garda. But once again, Joe's not quite got as good a run through Senna that he did a couple of laps ago. Joe Holmes trying to return the favour, and Alex Pritchard's in here now.
Yeah, up the inside of Kurt Holmes through 1 and 2, and Joe Holmes jinks to the outside to try and get the switch back out of hairpin 1 potentially, or set up a move into hairpin 2. Dickie Allen will keep it tight. He's so good at knowing just enough. He's like, I'm going to keep it here, and that will open up the corner as much as possible while still doing enough to deter a move on me into that corner. He's brilliant at that, is Dickie Allen, and he's showing it in abundance here. It's Richard Allen, Joe Holmes, Alex Pritchard in 3rd. Don't think Kurt was too happy with the move that Pritchard pulled there. But that's how it is for now.
So Joe Holmes was, I think, gesturing to Richard Allen there, saying, what are you doing, Dickie? Get on down the road. Let's have a one-on-one fight. But I don't think that's in Dickie Allen's mind tonight here at Buckmore Park. He wants to keep it tight. He wants to do what Joe Holmes did to the field a few months ago in the final round of 2022.
He wants to back it up. Alex Pritchard's not happy there. Kurt Holmes has got back through on him. But that was... If you're wondering why that arm was quite as aloft as it was, that wasn't just a gesture at the driver. There's race control just off to driver's left when they've come out of hairpin one. And Pritchard is trying to indicate that he's not happy with the conduct of I think it's Kurt Holmes anyway, one of the drivers around him. Dickie Allen again will go defensive. Joe Holmes is going, no, work together. But this
Not
is
going to happen.
no,
it's not going to happen because
this,
this tactic does work.
and Dickie Allen's playing the long game here. He knows that Joe Holmes is going to be one of the main players in this championship. He knows it. He knows it. This is tactics right from the get-go here at the sharp end of heavyweights.
When Joe Holmes did just this very tactic, back in November, there was only one driver who got past it and defeated it, and his name was Dickie Allen.
Yeah.
So all of these drivers behind Dickie now doing exactly the same tactics were not able to break that defence when it was last done here at Buckmore Park. This is a masterclass in defensive driving so far. Another little point from Joe Holmes. Just go on, get on with it. It's like, no. I'm the race leader. I'll do what I want. My name's Dickie Allen.
I have to say, I know these two are fast, but Joe Holmes is... The premise of Joe Holmes' argument is based on the idea that they can break the toe of Kurt, like that Kurt Holmes will drop off the back. It ain't happening. So, yeah.
Oh, he's gone for it. Down the inside goes Joe Holmes. Is the switchback going to be on for Allen here? No. The lane's going to be inside now for Kurt Holmes to go down the inside. That's really well worked by both Joe and Kurt Holmes. Kurt Holmes aggressively holding that line on the edge of the circuit. And finally, the resistance is broken.
Yeah, it was a gallant defence by Richard Allen, but that's not gone how he would have hoped. Alex Pritchard still there in 4th place. Adam Wright has got by Tim Williams. I think they're up into 5th place, if I'm not much mistaken. I think this is the 47 now ahead of the 96 as they head up the hill to finish lap number 10.
4 minutes to go. Oh, Adam Wright to the inside of Alex Pritchard. Alex Pritchard protects, but I think that was fine.
That looked fine to me.
That was fine for me. It's the thing, especially around here at Buckmore Park, because you have to drive the kart so aggressively. Is there too much sliding? Is the kart sliding, understeering, out of control on the inside and into the opponent on the outside? That wasn't the case for me there with Adam Wright. That was okay.
I want to draw attention to something where we've got to look rightly at the sharp end. Mo Hassan is 0.7 of a second off the back of Heinrich Watson Miller. He could win the class, having come up from the C final at the moment. Keep your eyes on that on timing. Heinrich Watson Miller in 19th, Samuel Bensley's in 20th, and then Mo Hassan in 21st. That's the battle for the C3 bragging rights, as Lindley is up the inside of Chris Alcock there.
He had a really good go at Tim Williams as well, a few corners back. Joe Holmes sets a new fastest lap of the race, and here comes the hammer.
251.
Here comes the Holmes hammer. This is what we've seen from him so many times over the years, and here again in 2023 in round 1. He's had to fight for this. He talked to me earlier saying, I just want to have some boring races, make it dull for you in the comms box. He hasn't had that today. He's had to work really hard. He's still got to work hard. There's still 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. But now he's really starting to stretch himself, and it's all over to Kurt Holmes to see if there's a response there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. And can Dickie Allen put in a further challenge? He's dropped a little bit off the back of Kurt Holmes. We're looking at the battle for 5th place. Alex Pritchard, Tim Williams, Steve Lindley and Chris Alcock. Callan Sigafoos, by the way, just behind them in the 24. Highest placed Class 2 driver, currently on for that.
Very good day.
Kyle Walker and Edward Gordon are sitting in 2nd and 3rd within that subclass. And Henry Watson Miller still holding position in Class 3. Inside of 2 minutes then to close out today's racing, this weekend's racing. It's been so good to get back to the Club 100 sprint action. Chris Alcock looks for a way by on Steve Lindley, but Lindley is an expert in positioning his car when he wants that. He's brilliant at it. Honestly, one of the best defenders I've seen in Club 100.
Infuriating at times when you're behind him, but boy, is he
very
good
impressive. Very impressive. Alex Pritchard as well, defending against Tim Williams as they come down the hill through the floodlights here at Buckmore Park. Remember, not the last time we'll be racing here in this season. We'll be back here for the season finale in November.
But there's a lot of racing between now and then. Joe Holmes is stretching now. 2 more laps to go. The lead is out beyond a second now. Here is your fight for 5th place. And oh, here comes Chris Alcock.
He's doing it.
He's wedged a door to be open there on the inside of Steve Lindley. Still holding on there is Steve Lindley, but this time through hairpin 1 has to concede the position to Chris Alcock.
Yeah, Chris Alcock just keeps it a little shallower than normal into hairpin 2 to go, please don't come back at me.
No,
I'm going to keep
not
that.
Today.
Not today. There is the battle over 2nd place, by the way. Joe Holmes may have checked out at the front, but it's nice and close between Kurt Holmes, Richard Allen and Adam Wright as well, ahead of this pack that we're looking at now. I have to say, Adam Wright has picked up where he left off for me in terms of Mr. Consistency in this class. Going to be really interesting to see how he structures his season's effort. Pritchard going super defensive against Tim Williams. And Chris Alcock now on the scene.
Controlled that really well, did Alex Pritchard, to hold down and make sure there wasn't a
Oh,
lane
and
open.
Lindley and Bosley. Steve Bosley and Lindley. That was contact, I think. And Steve Lindley is round. I was just about to say that Bosley had caught onto the back of Lindley. And I think Lindley was helped into that one.
Last lap board is out then. Still plenty of battles going on. Joe Holmes is in control of 1st. Kurt Holmes is in control of 2nd. Richard Allen is not in control of 3rd place because Adam Wright is all over the rear bumper of the round 11 winner from last year. He may have a run up the hill. Joe Holmes, though, is going to start 2023. He's not number 1 on the plate, but he's number 1 in this round. Joe Holmes wins round 1 of the 2022 Club 100 Heavyweight Sprint Championship. 2nd place to Kurt Holmes. 3rd to Richard Allen. 4th to Adam Wright. 5th holding on there was Alex Pritchard ahead of Tim Williams. Impressive stuff from Tim Williams here today. You'll be happy with that one. 7th for Chris Alcock. 8th for Steve Bosley. I wonder if we can get a little look there of that incident at the end for Steve Lindley. 9th and a win in C2 for Callan Sigafus. Carl Walker completing the top 10, Howard.
Yeah, absolutely. Class 2 podium then is Callan Sigafus, Carl Walker and Edward Gordon. Brilliant driving from those 3. Gosh, I've timed it perfectly. My voice is just going as we get to the end of the day. Heinrich
the
Watson
camera never
Miller
caught it. I know which one you mean, but the camera never caught it.
Is your Class 3 winner. And Lee Henderson, we already knew, was your super heavyweight winner going into that one, as the only super heavyweight who had made it onto the grid. We've seen some spectacular stuff today. Mo Hassan, I still take my hat off to him for getting into that A final, having won the C final and then worked his way up the B final to get that final promotion spot.
Bump and pass penalty.
Bump and pass penalty
for Kurt Holmes, which will take him off the podium.
It will.
Means Adam Wright on a podium on a streamed round. My goodness me.
No, that's a really good spot, mate. Yeah, that penalty will dock Kurt Holmes.
Don't think me. Mr. Whitehouse, he's on it. He's not watching the football anymore.
Ah, thank you. Thank you, David.
There we go.
Yeah. Well then, there we go. That was wasn't that a brilliant day's racing?
Very good.
Buckmore Park. I've thoroughly enjoyed being back in the competition, I have to say, as my first stream for 2023. I know I've already said their names, but shout out to those who made the stream possible. Adam Chapman, who's been our producer. Luke Woodford, who's been camera operator, part-time director. He's been the runner. He's been doing all sorts of jobs around us. Luke, Joe Sassoon, Jack Mitchell, Jake Grubb, your camera operators. Together, Andrew and myself, if you like what you've heard from a commentary perspective, we are Double Dash Motorsport Media. Check us out at double-mm.com and on all the various social media streams, in particular YouTube. Wednesday night, we're going to kick off the Club 100 iRacing Championship. Please join us for that.
The live link for the stream is already available, so if you head across the DDMM YouTube channel, click the notify me remind button. For Wednesday night, we'll be going live from 7:20 p.m. and I have very good news to report. Well done, ladies and gentlemen, on the chat. The scores on the doors: WMKC likes 162 on my screen here. For us here at Buckmore Park, the best Alpha Live team out
like.
on the airwaves today. 163.
One like
well
difference.
done, everybody.
That's incredible.
No, do after this, if you've got a bit of time, go and have a watch of the guys at Wilton Mill Kart Club. If you like
But
your
hang on.
racing, your own racing, club racing, that's all there at
I've-
WMKC.
I've got to look at the producer now. Are we supposed to say go and check it out, but don't like
No,
it?
don't like it.
I've never said that
No,
before for an
that's
Alpha Live
end-
video.
And
That's the
stop
end.
The count.
We're done.
That's
You can
it.
you
It's
can like
the
it now.
live likes is what's most.
We're up to
important.
166.
There we go.
There we
Thank you
go.
very
Right.
much.
Who held the
Easy
lights
win.
back till then? We've
Hey, you still haven't your light on
I
your
have.
account. Oh, you have?
I have.
Good.
I went on hours ago. Fine. Anyway, huge shout out to John Viger and the crew at Club 100 who make this all possible. And the thanks to the circuit staff here at Buckmore Park. Special shout out to the marshals, without whom we, of course, could not go racing. And I say this for the camera operators and those marshals. It was chilly today.
It
so
was
thank you so
very
much. Big
cold.
shout out to the marshals for making the racing possible as ever. And yeah, for just everyone who makes it possible. Congratulations to our winners, both in lightweights and heavyweights. The championship is next in action at Shennington. The next bit of streamed action in Club 100 is going to be BUKC
Yep.
on March the 15th.
15th.
So check that one out when the action moves on to Gladdy Gauze. It's the weekend of the 25th and 26th of March when Senior Sprints is next in action. Full disclosure, that one's not a streamed event. So the next time that Senior Sprints Championship, this particular championship, will be streamed will be on Sunday the 16th of April when we're up at Wilton Mill. But as we say, Club 100 iRacing Championship, check out the Double Dash Motorsport Media channel on YouTube on Wednesday night. Give us a sub, please. We'd really appreciate the support. And yeah, March the 15th for that BUKC stream that will be here on Alpha Live.
Very good. That's all we've got time for. Thank you very much for joining us here at Buckmore Park. And again, plenty more stuff here at Buckmore Park of an Alpha Live and DDMM variety over the coming weeks and months. Hope you've enjoyed your Sunday and all the action here for Club 100 Sprints Championships. We'll see you for BUKC in a few weeks' time in Wales. We'll see you back here for Club 100 Sprints action when we're at Wilton Mill in April. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.